Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another Fan Fuel Motorsports podcast. This is the podcast where fans fuel talk about motorsports. Today is episode 33. We have a wonderful guest coming on in a little bit, and that is the driver of the 6 car. You can kind of see hanging out there behind Nathan, and that is Rajah Caruth. He is currently on his way to Martinsville for the 300 lap super late model event that's going there. He will be joining us as soon as he can. But I'll go ahead and start us off with the events that took place this last weekend at Bristol. Guys, what a weekend. What can I say other than that? I mean, this was bringing classic Bristol back. This was the most enthusiastic I think we have been as a sport about a race weekend, and it started with the ARCA race, but it ramped up all the way to Sunday. So let's talk about Sunday. I'm just going to go ahead and hand this off to you guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Because there's just way too much to talk about.
Go ahead. I'm just entertained. Like, that's the key word. Like, the races were actually very good, and even if you took away the finishes, it'd still be really good. Like, from start to finish, they were all fun to watch. There was some controversy for you. They had a little bit of everything. So, like, I don't know how you could complain in a week like this.
Yeah, this is a great weekend. I can't believe we're covering this track in dirt and taking away a full race weekend of it. I get the spring race didn't have as good of attendance as the fall race did, and they get a lot more revenue from SMI and Bristol Motor Speedway from bringing in all the dirt classes that they do. But come on, give us 2 concrete races a year. This is amazing. This is one of the best weekends of the year, if not the best. And I think, we saw probably the race of the decade in the Xfinity race this weekend. Which I am so stoked to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first off is obviously we're going to talk about Saturday night's Antics. There was quite a bit of things going on. There was beating and banging all through the pack, something that we haven't seen too much lately at Bristol. A lot of fans clamoring for the one-lane Bristol, but my takeaway was we finally got, I don't know if they used PJ1 or resin, but whatever they did, and whatever temperature-wise, whatever the whole snowballing effect was of perfect conditions that we got, gave us a bottom-dominant 2-lane track, and it felt like a really good dirt racing surface to me because you could make up time in different lanes on both different sets of corners. The low line seemed to be very much better in 1 and 2 for some drivers, while they were high in 3 and 4, or vice versa, or somebody's the bottom feeder, somebody's the top feeder. So there was really 4 different styles of driving in that race, and that was what I was most excited about after watching 500 laps at Bristol. And if we can have that 15 times on the schedule, I'm down for it. I do love speedway racing. I've talked about it before, but yeah, Colton, you're right. I don't want to cover this place in dirt ever again. Whew.
Yeah, get that one out.
Yeah, it took me a while. I didn't take any breaths. That's super excited. But what did happen on Sunday was, like I said, a bunch of beating and banging. We saw the 11 get in trouble there with a flat tire near the end of the race and have his issues. But obviously he was winner at Darlington, so he didn't have to worry about moving on. We did see a couple of guys get cut from the playoffs with the 34, which I think we can all agree we saw that coming. But one of the guys I wanted to focus on was Kurt Busch. So what did you guys think about Kurt Busch's round? And was he necessarily a guy you had going out in the first 4 cutoff drivers?
Definitely not. Like, that's the one word that I would say, because Ganassi made up a huge step, especially on the 750 tracks. He ran really good at Darlington. He was running really good at Richmond. It was too early to tell, but he had a tire go down, and that was that. So I don't think he deserved to go out this round. Like, they were really good in the first 2 races, and then I don't know what happened on Sunday or Saturday night, actually, but it was really weird. Like, everyone thought that he was going to do good. It's Kurt Busch's Bristol, and they laid an egg. Like, I don't think there's a way to distract from that, but at the same time, I don't think that should have been enough to put him out of the round, because they had such a good first 2 races.
Yeah. That's just a product of this package. I definitely didn't see Kurt going out this early, especially with how hot he got later in the season. But you have 1 or 2 bad races in the playoffs. He didn't even finish terrible at Bristol. He just kind of finished mid-pack, and then, of course, Richmond really didn't help his case. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he does the rest of the year. I still think he's one that could still nab a win within these final 7 weeks. I mean, I picked him at Bristol, so I didn't see him having the weekend that he did, nor getting knocked out of the playoffs. Yeah,
I definitely could see him being one to watch at these 550 races like this weekend at Las Vegas, of course, Kansas and Texas coming up. I don't know that he's going to have the car at the 750 tracks going forward, but that'll be something that we can see. I don't want to go right into this, but we kind of have to. There was a scuttle between the 4 car and the 9 car, and a lot of different fans are on a lot of different opinions of this, and that could be based on who their favorite driver is or who their least favorite driver is as well. So Chase Elliott versus Kevin Harvick, or vice versa, depending on your style of opinion. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
And this, I understand why Chase Elliott's mad. First of all, things happen. He got a tire cut down on accident. That's just part of it. I don't think anybody meant for that to happen. But I don't agree with what he did, trying to swipe at Harvick after he pitted. Looked like he tried to cut his tire down on purpose, which I don't agree with. I understand that lap cars are part of racing, but I think it's different when a lapped car is either intentionally trying to cut the leader's tire down or intentionally trying to spite somebody. I think at that point, that goes a little bit beyond, you're just a lap car. Lap cars holding their line is one thing, but lap cars intentionally trying to end the leader's day, that's another thing.
Yeah, so if y'all follow me on Twitter, I have a huge problem with this. I don't have as much of a problem with guys who are just about to go a lap down, blocking, right? Trying to stay on that lead lap. I have no problem with guys trying to block for their teammate while they're both competitive. I do have a problem with the guy who's not on the lead lap, on fresher tires than the leader, waiting on the leader. Chase Elliott was catching and passed Kevin Harvick really on old tires, came in, got new ones, and then waited on him. He should have taken off. He should have been half a track ahead by the time that race ended. And instead, you saw him pull ahead 6, 7, 8 car lengths and then let off and get back, kind of back up to Harvick again. I think this is a very, shitty move on Chase's part. I'm not a fan of it. I think this goes more in line with the Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano thing than it does with even the Chastain, Kurt Busch thing. I would put this more in that category because it was clearly intentional. The radio communication showed it was intentional. The only people I see supporting this saying, way to go, Chase, are Chase fans.
Chase Elliott fans.
Yeah. Everyone else is like, hey, that's a shit move. It isn't against the rules. I've been proven wrong on Twitter with that. I'll eat my words. It's not against the rules. It should be. Because that was manipulating the outcome of the race. And it's a lot different than just dumping the leader to try to win the race. That's racing. This wasn't racing. This was bullshit.
I think if they tried to cut his tire down on purpose, imagine if he had cut Harvick's tire down, what would the reaction be?
Well, so to me, I don't necessarily have a problem with retaliation. Not in stock car racing. Obviously, in other forms of racing, it's very dangerous. We shouldn't do it. You see on Saturday night short tracks, there are varying rules depending on which racetrack you work for, which racetrack you race at, which racetrack you sit in the stands at. Retaliation might be okay. It might not be okay. Intentionally wrecking is not really a good thing, but retaliation is going to occur. You can rock a man's cage without retaliating, right? To a point where they wreck him. And that's what Chase went to do. He didn't flat out dump him like the Matt Kenseth thing.
No, but he tried to cut his tire.
And that's fine with me, right? That's fine with me. But where the problem lies is, just like I ranted about last week, that's the hypocrisy of the move, right? I ranted about the hypocrisy of race fans last week. Well, this week, Chase Elliott, I'm going to rant about your hypocrisy. You can't go out there in, I believe it was 2019 spring race. Everybody keeps saying last year, but
it was last year. It was
last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
It was? Okay, so 2020 spring race, nobody's there. Best fucking race that Bristol had in the spring, whatever. And we love that. We love the fact that Chase raced hard. Chase was racing for the lead. Kevin Harvick was racing for the lead. He was going for a win. And you cannot get mad at that if that's what you're going to do in a different race when you're in the same situation. And you damn sure cannot go out there on fresh tires and cut the fucking leader off coming on a pit road when you're multiple laps down. Now, I don't know how many laps down he was, but he pitted under green at Bristol. He was probably a couple laps down. You can't do that. Just like Colton said, you can make it hard for the leader to pass you. You can do a Ryan Newman against Matt DiBenedetto thing where you don't want to go on a lap down because that changes your whole race, and I get that. Once you've been lapped, it's over. Now you're going to sit there, get mad, complain about it, and be just whiny on the radio because some guy raced you the way you would race him. Get out of here. And I get that your NASCAR is golden boy, but that's just
right. And one thing I like to point out though is both of the Harvick and Chase accidents there, they're both accidental. Like, I see people use Bristol last year against Chase as if he did it on purpose, but I think the way they put it is it seems like Chase Elliott expects grace from the other driver if he wrecks them on accident, but when they wreck him on accident, he seems to not give them the same leeway that he expects.
So when he does it, it's a racing incident. When they do it, it's malicious.
Right. Like there's no,
and that's not okay.
There's no equal with that.
Yeah. I mean, and we've seen this, just even this year with Chase fans, we saw it last year with Kyle Busch at Darlington, an honest mistake that Kyle made. He thought he was clear, wasn't. We see that, once a month at least. Well, it just so happened that he dumped Chase Elliott, so now it was on purpose, right? And I don't agree with the hypocrisy there. I completely agree with you guys, and I want to highlight this comment. You should have saved it in the memory bank and moved him later to a different track when needed. Yeah, let the drivers police themselves. Don't try to do it that same race. You're out of contention, right? Now you're just being a dick. I would have loved to have seen him moving on to the Roval. I'd love to see him moving on to Martinsville, another cutoff race, and kind of jeopardize Harvick's season if he really felt that way. But now it seems like he already got that out, and now if he does it again, it just seems like he's being a prick about it, right? And carrying on old news at this point.
And Harvick's the guy that's got the upper hand now. So what he did with that dipshit move is now he's got a target on his back for the next 7 races. He's probably not going to make it to Phoenix. And if he does, it's going to be because he outdrove Kevin Harvick
he'll
to a point where Harvick could not reach him. It's not going to be because Kevin Harvick let him, because I don't think he's going to let him get to Phoenix.
Right, and I guess to be devil's advocate, I know this never turns out well, but I will say that there's a lot of 550 horsepower tracks out there, so it's going to be very, very hard for Harvick to actually race in the same zip code as Chase Elliott on those tracks with how bad his HR is there. So, I don't worry about him for Phoenix. I just think that, like I said earlier, you don't really want to do that when you're out of contention. You've basically lost all the moral high ground that you would have had if you just let it happen. If he had not done anything and said in the interview, hey, I don't like how I was raced, then people would agree with him. But it's the fact that he tried to cut the leader's tire down. And then he also just checked up, like you guys said. You can't, imagine if Harvick got a tire up and blew a tire. Then you're looking at, serious punishment and all that kind of stuff. It's just not – it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and that puts NASCAR in a hard place too, because now you got the favorite driver of the people having to come out and get penalized and stuff, and nobody needs any of that. This was just like we've all said, it was a dipshit move that didn't need to happen when it happened.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, and with that, let's move on to probably the best race of the weekend, if not the year, honestly. Xfinity race at Bristol. I mean, we've praised the 750 package. We've praised the fact that these cars race better. The talent is different. So you've got veterans versus young guys and all this stuff. And it came to a head. And first of all, let's go in and talk about the regular season championship before we get to the actual race, how it came down to the last race. And I just want to appreciate the fact that we had a good points race, because you can show that we don't necessarily need playoffs to have a gritty last race in a championship. So what did you guys think of that being an all-season thing coming down to this last round, and whether or not it played a factor into the finish of this race?
I thought it played a good factor. It was entertaining for sure. I like the fact that it did come down to the last race. Other than that, I think that everything else was good. That was what you would expect for a green-white checkered at Bristol. Or if it was a green-white checker, I don't remember if it was, over the scheduled distance or not. But either way, it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of done and over with before that caution came out.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, you don't need all the gimmicks to make a good long points race for the entire year. And not only did this come down to the last race, but it came down to the win, basically. Because both these drivers knew they had to finish ahead of the other guy to win the regular season championship. That win meant more than any other points they could grab during the race. I don't think you see that kind of finish with, say, a Justin Haley and, name another driver, right? I think with the Cindric and Allmendinger, that just created that much more little spice for the finish. And then I'd also like to praise the composite bodies. That was the difference in me between that good finish and that good side-by-side banging doors together racing versus the Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick cutting a tire.
Yeah, and that's another factor I didn't even think about. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have seen that kind of racing on Saturday night anyways, even if it was even more of, I guess, a passionate run to the end than it was. Yeah, I gotta praise the whole Xfinity season this year. It was very good. It was up and down for a lot of different drivers, a lot of different times. Saw some surprise winners in there that we didn't think about. I think the Jeb Burton win kind of caught me off guard and other stuff like that. A good crop of guys, and it seems like we might be losing a little bit of those guys to the Cup Series next year. So it's going to be interesting to see where we're at next year with this series. And I look forward to seeing news coming out to who's going to be driving where and just how good it is. When we do talk about the Xfinity Series, we look back at a bunch of these races, though, like maybe the Kyle Busch race versus Chase Briscoe last year and stuff like that. They're always coming down to the mark, and that's what fans want. Now, you and I and the three of us, we've talked about fuel mileage races and stuff being fun, and we can appreciate that. But it seems like this series is the one that produces the close finishes more often than the Cup Series. So is that a statement that you guys would agree with, or am I just coming out of left field here?
I think it has a good point because you look at Xfinity, they're all like younger kids. They're people that are fighting for careers or fighting for rides, or they really don't have. They have a lot more to lose than the guys that are racing the Cup. So they race like that. They know that this might be the last opportunity. This might be the last chance to win a race that year, so on and so forth. And that way, whenever you get a late caution, it's always chaotic because it's a proving ground. Like, it's not a series where everybody knows what to do. So you're going to get things that you wouldn't get in a series with experienced drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good combination of both A, the lack of experience, B, just like Nate said, the grit and the will to move on and keep your ride. But I mean, also we got to look at not only the cars and how they're built and how much they can withstand, but also, I mean, just the strategy. I mean, we see a lot of cool strategies come out of left field from the Xfinity Series. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cool shit that comes out. I mean, I've even said on Twitter that to me, this is the Cup Series. I mean, to me, this is the series of the weekend, almost week in and week out this year. So, I mean, I'm more excited about seeing the Xfinity race at Vegas than I am the Cup race, and that says quite a bit. But, I mean, overall, I mean, it's a great series, and I wish the Cup Series would just mimic that package on their cars.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens next year. Like you said, the composite body was something that helped pretty much the last couple of seasons with these guys not cutting tires and being able to beat and bang and rub on each other a little bit. That's going to be what's going on next year in the Cup Series. So maybe those cars can handle each other a little bit more. Got some people saying maybe not because of the new suspension and stuff. I don't know where we're going to be next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what goes on with the Cup Series. I think we need to get back to where the Premier Series is the Premier Racing, but that's not necessarily seeming like it's going to be done on the horizon. But back to the race itself. some people may not have liked the overall race because it did get a little bit of a lull in the middle of the stages there, but that finish was phenomenal, right? So we got two guys battling hard for the race win, for the championship. Two guys that are pretty much the same person. One of them's just 39 years old, and the other one is 20 something. So both of these guys, road racing backgrounds, and they both kind of looked wonky on the ovals when they started their careers, and now they're pretty much stock car aces on ovals and road courses. I mean, what better duel from a two different driver duel would you even want at this point? I mean, you got two caliber drivers. You got the young gun and the strict vet over here just going at it for the whole season, and it comes to a head here at Bristol. What a battle. What did you guys think of that finish and what happened afterwards?
I thought it was a great finish. I wouldn't necessarily say it was most respectful racing for sure, because I did kind of feel bad for Cindric. He did get used up. He kind of got run to the wall. Other than that, I think it kind of evened out because you had Cindric come right back at him. I didn't think that Allmendinger was going to miss the final corner like that. And once he saw that, Cindric he put his foot to the floor. He didn't lift. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't expect him to do that. So it's definitely a one-in-a-lifetime finish for me because I'd never seen something like that before with two cars wrecking across the line. It was super close, too. So I don't know. Pure chaos, and it was like must-watch TV.
Yeah, I mean, I said it before. This might be the race of the decade. Just because, we saw guys – we saw several of them fighting super hard at the very end of that last restart for the win. Can you imagine what it would have been like if not Allmendinger, Allgaier was right there too with him? We could have seen Allgaier steal that win from the two crashing cars. But not only that, I can only recall a couple of races where the leader crashed, and even at that, it wasn't a full-on hit in the wall, get clobbered by another car, crash to win the race. It was like a tap the inside wall at Bristol, roll the car into victory lane, call it good. It was fantastic. I was screaming on my TV when this happened.
Yeah, it was a hell of a race, man. I didn't get to see the first part of it live. I went back and watched it later. It was a hell of a race, and it comes down to something as crazy as that. What more can you ask for? Like I come on here, I'll tell you I like strategy racing, but I like side-by-side hard-nosed racing too. That was incredible. Like you said, Allgaier was there at the end. He kind of fell off after there was some contact up front, and we realistically could have seen those three guys go at it. I wish we could have got that, but what we got was fine. Talk about racing incidents, though. That's what happens when you get raced hard. And when we came off of 4, Austin Cindric didn't wreck the 16 on purpose. He was trying everything he could to nose his way in front of him. So that's the difference between what Chase Elliott did on Sunday and what good racing is. And it sucks that they had to lose 2 cars in that accident. But you gotta feel for Kaulig racing. They have come from basically nothing. Now they're one of the best teams in the series, and apparently they've just lost a sponsor. So that finish right there is going to get some names on the door for next year. I don't even know what else to say about this race. It was phenomenal. Let's talk about the post-race antics. I know Jared, he's not on tonight. He was at the race. He assured that the crowd was doing this to us in our group chat. Why the hell did they boo Austin Cindric?
Oh, man. I would assume that NASCAR fans, they want their rubbins racing, and they probably booed Cindric because they thought he was going to complain about getting run over at the end. But to be fair, I agree with what Cindric said. I don't think there was any reason to boo him. I think he has every right to be upset because it looked like coming at the white flag that he did get used up. He didn't get put in the wall, but he almost got put there. It looked like the 16 just missed the corner and drove into him. So, and then obviously he got a shot back at Allmendinger, so it was always even at least. But
yeah,
I don't think they should have booed Cindric. All he did was voice his frustration. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't say anything bad. He just said, "Hey, that's racing. I don't like it, but it's racing."
Yeah, I mean, you get 20,000 drunk rednecks in a stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to boo someone. And he just
Right.
came out and said that he didn't like the way he was raced, and that was enough for him. I mean, like Nate said, I agree with everything he said. Not only did he get booed, but he got cheered in the same interview. And so I don't know what the hell that was about. But, I mean, I think it was more just the passion. Everyone saw that live and was freaking out, and then they hear Cindric kind of complain about how he was raced. So I get it. I don't think it was fair. But, I mean, he didn't really seem to care much either way.
Yeah, he just looked visibly confused. He's one of the nicest guys in the garage too. So I don't think fans know that about Austin Cindric. I mean, we can talk about it with my dad in a couple of weeks. I mean, he even offered to give my dad and eventually I rides in his plane to Indianapolis Motor Speedway from the Coke 600 should we need it in the future. So if you're listening out there, Austin, one of these days we're gonna both check in on those tickets. So, but anyways. Yeah, I don't know. To see them boo and then come right back and cheer, I was like, that's the biggest 180 crowd reaction I've ever seen in my life, and we couldn't have got that without that amazing finish. But we pan over to Victory Lane, and AJ Allmendinger, he had to go there, but he didn't think about the fact that he wasn't going to be on Victory Lane. He was going to be in Victory Lane in the medical center. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, I don't remember a time that we've ever seen this. The car is so junked that the driver has to go to the infield care center. What did you guys think about that and what AJ had to say when he got out of the car?
Oh, man, I think it was hilarious, the whole thing, because obviously it's precautionary. I don't know what the threshold is. I don't know if it's, if you have to get out of the car, you have to go to the care center, or, whether there's a certain G-force that requires it, or every series has a different protocol, and I would assume it's because his car was junked. He couldn't just drive the car to Victory Lane. But the fact that you're getting your winter interview outside the care center, like, that's not going to happen very often, so I might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, and the protocol in the Xfinity series, at least I know, is that if you can't drive your car away from an accident, you have to go to the care center. Right? If you get out on the racing surface, you have to go. The closest we've ever come was Davey Allison, the All-Star race, and he was interviewed in Victory Lane. But, I mean, I thought this was super cool to see. He just brought it up in the comments here. He went straight to the hospital, no Victory Lane. You kind of got that confused Robert Yates and Larry McReynolds picture in Victory Lane. But, I mean, it was interesting to see. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. If we do, it's not going to be for another 20 years.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to me. I mean, AJ didn't seem like he was too mad about it. But he also wasn't the stoked, energetic AJ Allmendinger that we've come to grow used to over the last 15 years. And that was kind of on me, like, well, did he get hurt, maybe have a concussion or something, because he got hit so hard by his teammate Justin Haley there. And that's the only thing. I hope nothing like that happened, but I guess we'll see going into this weekend in Vegas if the team says anything or anything like that. I'm not trying to make something out of nothing. I got a little bit worrisome because he was just kind of 1,000-yard stare.
I believe, if he would have failed the concussion protocol test, he would have already been out for this week. So I think part of it was, number one, the fact that they said it was like $200,000 of damage for Kaulig. So probably
did they even make that much with a win?
They're not going to make that much from a win at all. So it outweighed the purse. And number two, he probably felt bad about Cindric because they wrecked on accident. Like, they didn't mean to do that. They just wrecked.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of those things. And then also, like, he just got all the air, stripped out of him by going to the care center instead of celebrating the win. We saw him get out and cheer with his car, and then you go to the care center and you get checked out by doctors. Like, that's got to kill your enthusiasm a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what they do? Right? They check
you're never there in good circumstances. Yeah, you're never there in good circumstances. You're always there because you just wrecked out of a race.
It's like the mental association. Like, when you're in the
right,
care center,
exactly.
yeah, like, they're like, hey, they're checking your blood pressure, your heart rate, all that kind of stuff, and it's like, that's not normal things for someone who just won a race. So it's probably I don't know why I'm here, but
yeah, you're not going to be stoked.
I don't want to get poked at.
Yeah, I didn't think about that stuff. Sometimes I just kind of ramble on, and then some of these questions come to my mind, and then that's what we talk about. Because obviously most most of this stuff has been off script tonight. We're still waiting for Rajah. Apparently, he has not settled in yet. I guess he's in Martinsville, but they haven't gotten to a place where he can hop on. So we have been in contact with him. We're not sticking around and lying to you. So before we go into the Thursday night doubleheader with the trucks and the ARCA cars, I'm going to give him a little bit more time to try and hop on here with us. Let's talk about what happened on Sunday in Monterey. So we had the second to last race at Laguna Seca. I forget what the new sponsor of that racetrack is.
I think it's WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Maybe.
Was it WeatherTech Raceway? Yeah. Because it was Mazda Laguna Seca Raceway for so long. I couldn't think of what the new one was. Yeah. So this is a classic racetrack. It's one of the best racetracks in the country. It's a beautiful area. Having been there this past summer, I would love to see some sort of NASCAR event there. If we're going to go to road courses, I'd rather go somewhere like that than the Indy Rapids road course. But the Indy cars put on a hell of a show. They have for the whole time that they've been going to this track. Let's talk about it. First off, Jimmy Johnson had probably the best race of his IndyCar career on Sunday. What did you guys think of that and the eventual, I guess, letdown of the day for that?
Yeah, I thought it was a good day for him because you look at where he was at the start of the year. He was like completely in the back. The only way he wasn't going to finish there was mechanical failures for other people. And you could see that ever since the second Indy road course race, because that was the track he tested at, he got better and better and better lap time wise. Like he's still not there yet for, one lap pace, getting the complete maximum out of a car yet. So obviously it's hard for him to qualify well, but in terms of lap times, he's getting closer and closer to the leaders, which is very good. So once he's able to put everything together to get a good qualifying result, then he'll probably finish a lot better. So like he's almost there.
Yeah, this is a good complete weekend for Jimmy. It was nice to see him kind of start fitting all the pieces together and have competitive runs. I was really, really impressed with Romain Grosjean. Man, he was wheeling that thing all weekend. And we've seen him kind of build this all year. But it was really cool to see him get that podium. I'm a Colton Herta fan, so I really like the finish, even though he just waxed the field.
It's a Herta family thing here.
Yeah, it's the Herta family. They're going to do well at Laguna Seca every time they go there. So it's cool to see him win. I'm still super intrigued with this points battle. We have a year-long points battle, and it's going to come down to the last race. I am super stoked to see that.
Yeah. After Portland, I thought that it was basically over, but this weekend kind of swung it a little bit back in the favor of maybe not Alex Blow, full-on champion. So we'll see what happens at Long Beach. That's a really interesting race to cap the season off. But this was a very good race at Laguna Seca. Like we said, very entertaining. Jimmy Johnson said that he is tested at this track more than any of the other ones. So I think getting those reps down and being good at this track are obviously one leads to the other. And I can't wait for him to do that next year in, the racetracks that he's already seen, because the schedule is essentially the same aside from going back to Canada. And you know what? It's going to be good for NASCAR fans who are branching out, because this season has been phenomenal.
Please watch it.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal season this year. Coming down to the last race this weekend, it will be a great season next year, and we potentially might have a full season Romain Grosjean, a full season Scott McLaughlin, and a full season Jimmy Johnson, where they're going to be racing all the ovals as well. And go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, and something before we move on to the next subjects. Your top two in the championship, they're second-year drivers. I don't think people realize that. I think Pato was 22 years old, second full-time year in IndyCar. Palou, second full year in IndyCar. I don't believe that this happens very often. It goes to show you how good the drivers are. This is probably the first time Scott Dixon's been beaten by a teammate in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And let alone a second-year driver for a teammate. That's even more insane. It's just like it shows you the talent IndyCar has now. Because if you go back to the days of reunification, the grids were not as strong. Like you would not have a second-year driver come in and compete for a title. Now everybody's good. Like you said, there's big names. There's so much young drivers that want to be here, and they're doing well. Like it's something that I would not have thought 10 years ago would happen.
Right, and then Romain Grosjean actually he put out a statement. I don't have it with me because I wasn't actually prepared to talk about the IndyCar race tonight. But he basically said that if you're looking for good racing and your trajectory is either a mid-tier seat where you're not going to win any races or lead any laps in Formula One or IndyCar, come to IndyCar because it's going to be funner racing, it's going to be closer racing, it's going to be a better show, and it's a lot more enjoyable with a lot less politics. And I thought that was essentially what his statement said, and I think that holds true for the season.
He mentioned something with the tires too, that in an F1 car, you're really a lot of it's managing, and it's partly due to the Pirelli era that's been that way since Rufus banned. Every race is a one-stop race, so you're really having to manage your tires and make sure you're in their working window, keep them not too hot, not too cold. Everything with the brakes, everything with fuel, you have to do everything that's micromanaging that relates to conserving than actually racing. Whereas you go to IndyCar, yes, you still have to hit a fuel number. Yes, you still have to conserve your tires to a certain extent, but it's a lot different. Like you're actually really, really having to push the car every lap at the same time, which is something that he didn't get in F1.
Yeah, and that's how he wrapped it up. He basically said, you don't have to worry about a lot of things in IndyCar. You can just get in and drive. And you can tell he's having a hell of a time doing it.
Yeah, like he's almost unchained, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I don't know what better way to say it other than it's the most purest form of racing that we've got right now. Like you guys have said, Formula One is more of a tire degradation battle than an actual race. NASCAR is more entertainment than an actual race, and these races are entertaining because they're more pure. So I think with Romain going to Andretti, potentially taking Ryan Hunter-Reay's seat, I hope that we have more global money and global driving talent coming over here, because this series really needs to be about 24 races long with at least 6, if not 8 ovals.
Yes, sir.
And then also we need to have a bigger grid. I would love to see the days where we start 28 to 32 Indy cars every single week.
Yeah, and I hope you look at that. I think it all started when Alonso ran the 500 back in 2017, because he mentioned that, meeting up with Jimmy Johnson to do the seat swaps and stuff like that. He said that's basically what brought Jimmy to IndyCar. Like that experience kind of interested him even more in open wheel racing. It got a lot of eyes on the sport, because I remember Alonso Mania back in 2017 and how that happened. I did not think that it would lead to this, because now you've got drivers that are over here full time, not just running 500. Marcus Ericsson, guys like that. There's so many more guys, but it's so cool to see it, because ever since the last 5 or 6 years, it's been completely different.
I'm just going to highlight this comment. Nothing is more pure than Super Late models, midgets, or sprints.
Shifter karting winner, instant winner. Like, go look at what any open wheel driver says. Like, karting is the most feared form of racing. Like, it's just literally the person in the car.
How many Super Late models do you think they've driven?
They've driven better cars. They've probably driven F1 cars, but you're talking guys who've driven the fastest car on the planet at the time, saying that karting is the only form of racing that he truly enjoyed. Like, that's just crazy.
That's fine.
We can agree to disagree.
The thing that all of these disciplines that were just brought up come down to, that don't come out of the same realm as IndyCar, to me at least, is they're not as spec as something like IndyCar. So money wins races, right, in these other series to a much greater extent. Karting is just as bad as Formula One. But guess what?
But at least
there's a lot less volatility. There's a lot less volatility in dirt racing than a lot of people would like to admit.
Right.
So
I guess
when it comes to that stuff, I mean,
the
we're
reason
talking
I
about
said purity is that you don't need a team full of mechanics to run a go-kart. You don't need a trailer. You don't need a sponsor. All you need is, you and a buddy that knows how to
$20,000 in a go kart.
Okay, well, yeah, but how much? It's probably a lot more for car racing too. So there's no
not
such thing as
necessarily. You
formal
can
racing, but
get good equipment for those other cars for the same amount of money. But the fact of the matter is, to be good at them, talent's going to shine in any of these disciplines because of just how, I guess, like you're saying, pure they are. But fundamentally, they're all going to be pushed by money. So
yeah, every series doesn't matter.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Fast cars go fast. Yeah.
Same
I
with
feel
go-karts,
just like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a lot more volatility in IndyCar itself that you don't get even in some touring car racing series like BTCC and WTCC and all that stuff too.
Like you can't really script it almost. It's like it's not as spec as say F2 would be, but it's as close to getting spec without being spec as it can get. Like big money teams still win. Ganassi, Penske, McLaren, all those big teams, Andretti. But you can still have small teams run really well. And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll take a little bit of a break right now. Kind of an intermission. I'm going to try myself. Colt just came out and said it. I was going to try and be a little bit graceful about it. So I'm going to.
He's gone.
I'm going to go ahead and get you guys another ad read. So to preface this, we did this a little bit ago with Which Way GPS. Just trying to get some sponsors on the show. If you have a product, I can make it look good. Nathan can, Colton can, however you want it to do. But I'll go ahead. There's a restaurant that I'm going to talk about that is in Uptown Columbus, Georgia, that we went to a couple of days ago, and that's Frank's Alley. This is a place that is fully committed to being a New York a New York style hot dog stand. And I this one is ad lib, so I didn't prepare it like last week. So don't take this too much. So let me get into it. This is like the B-roll for when we put this later on. So Frank's Alley, are you from or have always wanted a New York style hot dog?
Come on, you're letting them down.
Frank's Alley, and you could get it. We got one of the 5 boroughs. Anything that you want, we got it. We got Queens. We got Central Park. We got dogs from each of the 5 boroughs. And if you have a Staten Island friend, well, we got the trash dog too. It's got chili. It's got cheese. It's got flaming hot Cheetos, whatever you want. So come on down to Frank's Alley.
I got another
Uptown
fake
Columbus,
ad
Georgia,
for y'all.
to get your New York style dogs and Frank's. And we'll see you next time. All right, welcome back, Colton. I went to New York.
I was going to give a local company a shout out. I don't think I've given these guys a shout out yet, which is kind of sad considering I'm there so much. If you're anywhere in Florida, really, and you're looking for a go-kart track that's maybe right next door to you or 2 or 3 hours from you, you need to go to Bushnell Motorsports Park. It's hands down the best outdoor rental karting track in the state. They do rental kart leagues every Thursday night. Probably the most competitive rental kart league in the state. You've got light and heavy classes. You've got races every couple weeks. You've got 206 kart championship series. You can run rental races on your own. You can actually rent a 206 kart. If you want to try out a 206 kart, you can rent one of those and see how it goes. You just need to either rent the safety equipment or bring safety equipment, and everything is prepared for you. So even endurance racing, you can come to a solo endurance race and have some fun. So if you ever want to do some karting and you're in Florida, come to this place right here, Bushnell Motorsports Park. It's the best track. I don't think I've ever been to a place in the state that's as good as it. So y'all need to go karting.
I do give Nate a lot of shit about karts, but in all honesty, if y'all have never driven
it's so fun.
A competitive go-kart, not just like one of the little indoor K1 speed ones, take the time, spend the money, go drive an actual competitive go-kart.
That's my goal is next month I'll try and test a 206 kart.
I am promising you guys, it is so much fun. You guys will have a blast doing it, regardless if you like racing or not. They are so much fun to drive. to know that you have this little engine next to you and you can just wheel it out and power it as much as you want to. It's a ton of fun to do. We build go-karts up here in Wyoming. We just race in parking lots. And it's some of the most fun you'll ever have. So definitely go to your local go-kart track or go to Bushnell.
Yeah, come to Bushnell if you're from Florida, because I live 3 hours away from it, and I still like to go there once a month. And starting next month, I'll probably try and get in the 206 cart every month because I've never driven one before. And the rental carts have the same power, but they're a lot heavier. So I want to get used to something lighter and work my way up to faster carts. But it's something cool because most tracks don't rent those carts out. Like all you need is a pair of jeans, a helmet, and gloves, and they can give you a jacket, and you can just go out there and drive it for a test session. So there's a lot of opportunities there that you normally wouldn't see. Like it's just a cool place.
Colton, you got anything to shout out right now while we're kind of in an intermission?
I'm in Las Vegas currently. Going to the races this weekend. Staying at a buddy's house. He actually used to live here. But shout out to them for letting me stay here again. That was pretty cool. But no, we're just hanging out in Las Vegas. I don't really have anyone specifically to shout out. We're going to go to the Strip tomorrow night. Going to kind of do some little fun things, take the girlfriend out. Other than that, I think we're just hanging out, waiting for the races to start.
Yeah, Vegas is a fun city. I was there. I was there once when I was little. I was there like 2017, and I was there not a couple months ago, like December last year. And that was fun. Stayed on the Strip. Lots of cool things to do. Just a nice getaway for a few days. So
yeah,
if y'all are ever out there, go to this thing called Exotics Racing if you have just money to spend.
Yeah,
that's what I did last December, and it was really cool. Like I'd never driven a car that fast before, so it was fun. Like the instructors are nice; they make you feel at home. So
if y'all know me or if you've seen me on Chairgate or even here, I think I mentioned it. Darian from Black Flags Matter lives here. I have had my beef with him in the past. I am not a huge fan of him. However, I'm hoping to run into him at the races and talk to him personally about setting up a charity boxing match. I do not think he'll go for it, but I'll confront him face to face. I tried it once already, and he did not want to have any of that. So we'll see.
Charity boxing match. Like, aren't there like? That's just an interesting way to raise money.
Yeah, hell yeah! I'll go up there and throw some fists. It's going to be one of those things. Like I think I can kick his ass, and he thinks he can kick mine, right? And so we'll do it for fun. I'm not going to go confront him at the races and swing on him and get kicked out of the damn track.
Man, y'all's beef is that bad? Like
no, it really isn't. It's just me holding on to a grudge, more or less. Like in all honesty, I'm sure he's a really cool guy. I'm sure he is. However, I don't care to find out.
Well, okay.
Welcome to Wyoming.
Some grudges don't die.
We'll live stream it, I guess.
Some people do not forget.
You guys know my dad. He's been on the show a couple of times. Chad Harrington. He's a flag man by trade. He's worked at plenty of different racetracks over his career. One of the biggest things that has happened this season is he's got to work at two of his dream tracks, as it were. So Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia, and Rome Speedway in Rome, Georgia, two of the biggest dirt tracks in the Southeast. He is flagging there this year. I got to help along with him a couple of weekends ago at the Rome Speedway for the first time ever, and that was an interesting experience for me, to say the least. But on Saturday, October 9th, and Sunday, October 10th, they will be having a Lucas Oil Super Late Model Series coming up there and racing for $15,000 to win for the, I believe, 40-somethingth Dixie Shootout and Rome Showdown for $10,000 to win on Sunday night. Those are two really big races, really classic races for the Southeast. Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series has a bunch of big names in it. You got mainly people like Jonathan Davenport and I'm running out of steam right here.
Scott Bloomquist
and Scott Bloomquist and the like. Names you've heard of, names you've seen on Flow Racing TV, and names you've seen on MAV TV and CBS Sport Network as well. And I guess NBC has the rights this year, so you've seen them on NBCSN some too. And we we would like for you guys to come support those races and go have a fucking good time because dirt racing is awesome. Other than that, still waiting on Rajah, so I guess we can swing back into the truck series and see where we go. So Thursday night, we had a doubleheader. We had the ARCA race first, but the premier show Thursday night was the truck race. Now, it has been a solid week, so we might not exactly remember what happened. So can one of you guys run down that race just for a little bit before we get to our opinions on it?
I don't want to be the downer here, but I didn't actually see the full race other than the last few laps. So all I know is that Sheldon Creed got used up. There were some KBM things. JHN kind of blew the corner. Chandler Smith won. Must-win situation. He had to win and move on. And some drivers were not happy about that. They suspected other things. So that was definitely the biggest takeaway from that race for me.
Yeah, I'm with Nate. I didn't watch the whole thing Thursday night. I had other stuff going on. I did watch the full ARCA race and then caught most of the Truck Series race. I mean, it was a pretty damn good finish. I mean, we still saw one of the best races of the season out of the Truck Series. I feel bad for John Hunter. However, I think he said in his interview that he's expecting a steak dinner and a phone call or in a favor in the future. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to see as it moves forward as to whether or not he did that to save his teammate or if he did it on accident and it just so happened to benefit his teammate.
Yeah, I don't know what to say other than this is what the playoffs kind of brings out of people. Whether or not you like that is on your own accord. Chandler Smith had to do what Chandler Smith had to do to try and run for a championship. You can't get mad at a guy who's trying to make sure he's got a seat for next year after you've won so many damn races. I don't know exactly what else you could want from the race if you're racing in it. Like, a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. Like that's where I'm at. I don't get why John Hunter Nemechek wants a steak dinner and all this stuff. Like, you didn't let him win because you were a teammate. I mean, smart thing to do was just let him win anyways. Because I mean, as a championship threat, he's not one. So that's one spot of
Chandler
7 other drivers.
A good truck, so I wouldn't say that he's not going to be a threat because that's just the way the trucks roll. Like, sometimes random guys make the final four. So, I mean, I would never count out a KBM truck, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But like I said, I do kind of feel bad for him because it's like it's just part of the playoffs. Like, the sport fosters these kind of things, and you know, whether it's for better or worse, there's a lot more controversy with the playoffs than there are without them.
All right, so I do want to go ahead and thank everyone for sticking around with us tonight. Yeah. We had planned on Rajah being here when we started at 7, and then we pushed it out because he said he was probably going to be a little bit late. I know it's been an hour. I hope you've enjoyed most of the show. He says that he'll be here in less than 15. We're not pulling your leg, I promise. Been in contact with him for about 3 weeks. So hopefully he should be here shortly. I think the biggest thing that I want to get into before we get into the ARCA race, because I want him to be here for that, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Practice. Bob put out a tweet that teams are expecting 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's talk about this shit here. Nate, you go ahead, because I got a whole pot full of stuff.
I would say that their intentions for this practice are pretty well laid out. Like, I don't think they actually want the guys to practice just for the sake of getting their cars good. I think it's solely to prevent fluke mechanical failures from happening. Like, you remember Larson when he had something stuck in his engine at Talladega and it blew the engine out? That wouldn't have happened without practice or with practice. I think they're just trying to reduce the mechanical failures that would be caused by no practice. They want to ensure that every team gets to have a fair chance to bring their car to the racetrack and know that it's going to finish the race. But so the reason they're not allowing the adjustments under the car, they probably don't want any big things because they don't want a true practice. They just want it to get rid of the hiccups that teams would have without practice.
They want practice, in this new format of no big adjustments to say that they have practice. We all know that NASCAR probably does not want practice. They want every team to show up and have the complete shit show of this guy could crash out. This guy, random guy, could hit the setup perfectly. We all know that the sims are not exactly like real life. We heard Kyle Busch say that he can sim all week. They can nail the setup on the sim and get to the track, and it's nothing like the actual track. Mostly because they don't update the damn iRacing and these simulators every single time they race. They don't go out and scan it the week before and say, okay, here's what the track is now. In these conditions, in what might be the race conditions. I mean, we have all sorts of factors we can throw into there. My biggest beef is if you're just going to make them have no major adjustments other than it seems like tire pressure, wedge, and track bar. That's the things I can think of that they're allowed to do, other than other minor little things here and there. If you're going to do that, just don't have practice. Like, for Christ's sake. Just do a parade around the track for the fans that are already there. I don't get this. If I'm a driver, and
I don't understand this. So
I don't either. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Are you guys ready for me? Because Alex is about to have another rant.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I don't understand this. What the fuck are you guys doing? I don't understand it. All the fans want practice. We want practice. 20 minutes is not practice. How many runs are you going to get with 20 minutes? You might get 2 because you're going to go out. You're going to make sure your car doesn't blow the fuck up. It's a whole new thing. Then you're going to come in. You're going to cool it off. You might go out for a qualifying run if they allow you to have qualifying setups, which is probably not going to happen. We're probably going to have impound races from here on out. Fans miss the fact that we used to see track records. Fans miss the fact that we used to see long runs. Fans miss the fact that we could show up on Friday and watch Cup cars on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday. And you just want to do this? I don't understand it. I don't give a damn about the team saving money. They're saving money enough with this new car in the long run. That's a bullshit excuse. You're already talking about them needing more money because you're moving the numbers up front. Why is it about money? At some point, the money is going to run out because me and my guys are not going to show up to the racetrack for 4 days anymore because there's no reason to. Because the midways suck, because there's no reason for sponsors to put money into the midways because there's no fans there, and there's nothing on track. You go to a supercars race, you go to a Formula One race, you go to a GT3 race, you go to an IMSA race. You even own IMSA. What the fuck? You go see 4 or 5 series have multiple practice sessions at a time, and you see them have qualifying, and you see them have a full-length race. And you know what people do? They show up. Fans don't only want racing. True fans, the ones that are going to spend their hard-earned money at your tracks, want track time. Stop pussyfooting around. This is bullshit, and you need to get your foot out of your ass. I'm tired of this shit.
I wish that I could have rants 50% as good as Alex does. Because,
I know.
Holy hell, we need to start a trend. Hashtag Alex rants. I mean, he hit every single point. That's what all of us are thinking. When we go to a track, we want to see
I like to go to the practice day.
Right. If I show up, I would love nothing more than have Cup cars on track right now in Vegas.
If I'm a sponsor,
you could be at the racetrack.
Why am I spending money to put stickers on a race car that's not going to be seen but once? Am I gonna spend money to put a tent and people to service it and products on display if I'm not going to have people out in the midway to actually do that because there's no reason for them to be there any day but race day? No, I'm not going to do that. Where is the disconnect? Your whole business model is marketing.
Also,
you can't not do marketing. You have to market to the people. And the only way you can do that is sell the sponsorship because their car is going to be seen by multiple people, multiple days each week. And they're
also, look at the fan travel aspect. Why would you spend so much money on plane tickets and hotels to go to like a place that's 5,000 miles away for 2 days or 1 day? Like, why would you do that?
That's the
if you're going to travel, you might as well stay there for a few days.
Why am I going to go rent an RV because I don't have one to go sit at a racetrack and have my thumb
for like 12 hours? Yeah,
for 12 hours a day for 3 days.
Right. Do you guys want to see the party at Talladega die? Because this is how you do that.
Yeah, it's going to. Now I don't know necessarily Talladega because Talladega and track time have never really been a thing since the 90s because they used to have multiple things. So I think Talladega is doing stuff at the track to circumvent the fact that they don't have that. If tracks can do that, which they don't, which I've ranted about before, that might alleviate some of this pain. But I'm not showing up to watch the best of the best figure out their car on Sunday. I'm showing up to see the best of the best figure out their car on Friday, go fast as fuck Friday night, figure out what they can do in race setup on Saturday during happy hour, which used to be my favorite part of the weekend. Cup happy hour was my favorite part of the weekend. Not the race, Cup happy hour, because I could sit there and I could analyze people with my eyes on track and try and figure out who was going to be good for the race day. And that was my favorite part because I could do that and try and predict the races. And I can't do that anymore. And that was something that was fun for me. You took away a big piece of my racing heart when you did that, okay? It's infuriating. And then Sunday, if someone bangs the setup right now, they're gone. But you know what?
Right.
If other people have time to catch up on Friday and Saturday, we can have a hell of a show. We did it for how many years? Stop.
Right. Like there's so much interesting things that you can do at a racetrack practice day, and now it's gone. Like it's gonna be gone with the way that they're moving towards. I think it's just gonna be qualifying only maybe from now on. Like I think that this 1 hour practice thing is just like a refresher almost. Like do your install laps, make sure all the mechanical gremlins are fixed, you're done. That's it. That's all it is.
And even at that, we're having impounds. So if someone does have a major mechanical failure that they can find in practice, they're going to get impounded and sent to the rear for changing anything. Yeah. It used to be just the engine.
Right, and it's ridiculous. That's not leading to good racing. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've had some pretty good bangers this year, but tripping up into success versus actually getting there is a little bit different. And I hate that sometimes NASCAR this year has worked, with their on-track product because I know that it can be so much better. And it's something that has frustrated me since 2014. Yeah, I know that we can do better, and the brass that hold the keys to the kingdom, they decide to go opposite of what I think. Maybe I am not the end all be all on opinions, but I think I know what race fans want more than race fans do most of the time, and I'll hold myself higher than that. I'm willing to die on the hill.
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan is sitting here watching the 2015 Coke.
Yeah.
400.
Yeah, I'm just like it's just interesting because it's like you see things that you normally didn't see because this is a commercial break. This is what NBC would see when they're in commercial. So it's always fun to watch racing with no commentary.
Oh man,
I'm just having a great time. I got a water bottle here that fits 3 full chocolate milks in it, and I'm probably gonna have to pee again.
Yeah, well, Rajah said less than 15, and that was 10 minutes ago. So
we're running out of time.
We'll take a quick pause again, and hopefully he'll be on while Colton and I go to the restroom.
Thank God, Nate, you got to entertain the people.
I can't entertain the people, man. I was going to refill my drink, so. All right, Alex is back.
Yeah, thanks again for those of you guys who are sticking with us. I hope we've been entertaining. Pretty much to this point, honestly, we've been ad-libbing the whole show. So none of this was prepared that you've seen so far because Rajah was supposed to be on around 7:15, like I said earlier. So hats off to you guys.
Yeah, the viewers.
And a pat on the back to all three of us for taking this show and making it a thing without even having a single part of our script open yet. So
yeah,
hell yeah,
we're doing a good job. So I'm not even an entertaining person, and we're doing a good job. So
I had to go get 2 more chalky milks. I ran out.
So I do want to say though, before Rajah comes on,
chicken tenders are better.
if there's anything that you guys want to ask him, go ahead and fill that in comments. And we'll try and ask him 1 or 2 of you guys' questions. Because I don't know honestly how long this show is going to go on. Because I think we've got a good solid 2 hours of content just with him.
Yeah.
That I know that we've prepared ourselves for, just whether or not he wants to
water.
do all that.
Chicken tenders are good. However,
Yes,
they do not deserve a whole goddamn restaurant.
yeah, they do.
That's my beef with Raising Cane's. I like Cane's. Don't get me wrong. Their sauce is fantastic. Nate and I were beefing about this before the episode.
It's ridiculous, bro. You really need to enjoy yourself and go get some chicken fingers because
no, I get it. They're good. They're great. They do not deserve a whole restaurant. Same with mini
where
corn
else am
dogs.
I gonna get chicken tenders?
Love mini corn dogs. Applebee's, Chili's, Burger King, McDonald's, any other restaurant with a kids menu serves chicken fingers. I mean, I love mini corn dogs. I'm not gonna go to Lil Weenie's and get mini corn dogs from the mini corn dog restaurant. I'm sorry.
Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, all these dedicated chicken restaurants.
They're great. I can get a drumstick at Chick-fil-A. I can get a chicken sandwich at Zaxby's.
You cannot get a drumstick at Chick-fil-A.
Bullshit. Or not Chick-fil-A. KFC. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the only one. All the other ones, Zaxby's, you get chicken strips, chicken sandwiches, and chicken wings. They're whole restaurants dedicated to these things.
Right, but not chicken fingers. Jesus Christ! I mean,
what do you think? What do you think people mostly get at Zaxby's?
I don't know. I don't have a Zaxby's here, and if they only serve chicken fingers, or if they primarily serve chicken fingers, I'm not going there either.
What's wrong with you? You don't want top-notch chicken fingers.
They're great.
I don't care. I want the best of what I'm eating. Whatever place gives you the best chicken fingers, I'm gonna go there.
I have this conversation with my brother at home too, because there's a place in town in Cheyenne called Twisted Tenders. They're a big chain, and it's the same thing. It's Raising Cane's just with more sauce options.
That sounds good to me, man. I'm a fat boy. Give me.
You're also 19, so I get it.
Right. I don't need.
Did he really just say he's a fat boy?
I'm a fat boy.
Nathan, you're scrawny, man. You've been going to the gym.
Bro, I'm 5'7",
190.
That is not scrawny. That's not scrawny.
How much do you weigh?
5'7", 190.
Yeah, I'm 5'11", 190.
5'8".
I'm a big boy.
Alex and I decided that we're going to meet in the middle at 2:30.
So I'm still the smallest person here. So.
And then we're going to fight.
Wait, I didn't agree to that.
We're going to get Hulk hands, like the ones that make noises when you hit each other, like, Hulk smash.
Okay, I can't take a hit. I can't do that.
Well, that's fine. I'll let you get 2 free.
Okay. I have a medical condition. I can't take a hit.
All right. Well, maybe I don't beat up on the medically challenged guy. That's fair. But you can ref me and dare you.
I can ref it. I'll commentate it.
I'll drop weight to meet his weight class. That's fine.
All he's got to do is grow his hair out more. He'll meet yours.
No, he's pretty skinny. I'd have to lose 50 some odd pounds to get to him.
You think so? He's kind of tall, is he not?
Yeah, but I bet he's only $150.
I've walked by him at the races before, and he doesn't seem that big. So.
Yeah, I bet he's $140, $150.
Probably.
I just give him some weighted. Just give him weighted gloves so he doesn't have a disadvantage.
No, that is a disadvantage. Can you imagine him swinging 16-ounce gloves?
Weighted gloves. That slows you down.
Just full disclosure, Darian, if you're somehow watching this, I have no beef.
Colton
with you.
really
This is
wants to
Colton.
fight
I just
you,
want to watch
apparently.
you guys fight because that sounds entertaining.
To be honest, I'm not to the point where I'm going to square up with him at a bar or anything like that. I've moved on past that. I would love to get in a ring with him or a cage or something in a charity match. I'd love to raise money for a good cause. Maybe it goes to the Victory Junction Gang. I don't know. Let's do something, though. Even if it's thumb wrestling, I'd thumb wrestle him. I'd kick his ass, but I'd thumb wrestle him.
Maybe like a karting tournament? I don't know. Shoot.
We could do that. Sure. I come to Vegas, fairly frequently. We'll come do it.
That would work.
Bro, just bring some parking lot and go-karts, man.
I'd still have to drop weight because I feel like an extra 50 pounds in a go-kart's quite a bit.
Maybe not in the carts you have. You've got multiple ones, don't you?
Yeah, I'll just give him the slow one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're slow ones? Okay. Now I know that for when I'm
Slow
there.
ones, yeah.
Now I know when I go up there.
So welcome to Behind the Scenes Fan Fuel Motorsports. This is what happens usually before and after the show.
Just weird things.
And in the group
Rajah
chat.
just texted me right now that he made it to his hotel.
All right.
So
We are here. It's
again, I'll
almost
say
time,
thank you
guys. It's almost time.
for waiting in on this. We'll trim it up and edit it so that we can get it done. We're probably going to have 2 or 3 episodes out of this by the time we're done.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that he's not too tired and comes on because he was excited about doing more than an hour with us. He is in on much of the stuff that we're going to talk about. So he's ready to do that. And I can't wait for him to get on. As soon as he comes on, we're gonna kick this thing back into high gear, and hopefully I won't lose my voice because I've been talking.
You'll be all right. That's why you drink water, man. I got like 1,
I'm
2,
working
3,
on it.
4. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to got the gallon jug, but we're good enough. Halfway through this one already.
I got to hydrate between my chalky milks.
Yeah, hydrate.
Yep. Nesquik, lifesaver. Do you guys like Nesquik or do you like that Hershey syrup?
I'm not a chocolate milk guy.
I don't know.
Or are you a weirdo and you prefer Yoo-Hoo?
I have not drank
so here's the
chocolate
thing.
milk in years.
Here's the thing. There's chocolate milk and then there's Yoo-Hoo. They're two
Right, they're
different things.
different.
They're different.
That's a chocolate drink. Right?
Yeah.
That's good, but it's not
It's not chocolate milk.
So we'll ask one of our future guests a couple of episodes from now what it was, but his son put me on some chocolate milk that was very rich and frothy that I have not been able to find since, and it was the best chocolate milk I've ever put in my mouth. I love chocolate milk, so honestly the mixing stuff I'm not too fond of that, but the pre-mix stuff, like you go and get some
Yep, here we are.
some Mayfield or something straight out of the gallon.
Viva's
I'm all
pretty
over
damn
that.
good.
Yeah.
Viva's good. True Move's good. All chocolate milk is good.
I haven't drank chocolate milk in years, man. But like,
You
here we
guys
are. We're
ever had-
debating.
Bad chocolate milk?
No,
No,
we have not. Shoot, like we're debating chocolate milk. We're debating restaurant chicken tenders at this point. I don't know what's going on, but
hey, we stalled
intermissions
out.
are fun.
We're just waiting on our main guest. I am sorry that racing gets to racing people. This is bound to happen to some people sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I said, I appreciate you guys who are still watching. So like I said, if you got any questions for Rajah, go ahead and type those in the comments, and we'll get 1 or 2 on. Hopefully he'll be up for the whole show that we had planned in time. But if you got to leave, thanks for sticking around. We'll probably wind up separating this into multiple shows that we can clean some of this stuff out for the audio parts on Spotify.
I'm fine with that. 33 and 33.5.
Yeah, something like that.
There we go. Yeah. This is where you get the real beef, is in the live episodes. You ain't going to hear this on Spotify.
Yeah, like all the debates about whether or not chicken tenders are a valid restaurant menu option or not.
Now, do you guys think that Pop-Tarts would be considered a calzone?
A hot dog's a taco, so might as well.
No, hot dogs are sandwiches.
Okay, yeah, I'd say hot dog sandwich.
Or is cereal a chowder?
What?
Because it's cream based, just like a chowder. It's
Yeah, I know, but like,
it's a cold chowder.
You guys don't eat your cereal with water?
What the fuck do you guys do in Alabama?
y'all ever just eat
I'm
Cheerios
just
by hand?
messing with you guys.
Like,
Like,
I'll
at this
just
point,
grab
I'm just
straight
memeing.
handfuls of them.
I'm just
Like
memeing.
Cheerios, bro.
Ah,
Just grab them out of the box.
Ira's probably watching this, and she heard me
Bro.
call a hot dog a taco, and she's probably like yelling expletives in Spanish in the
Y'all
living
have
room.
never eaten Cheerios without the milk. That is the best thing. Like, I'm not a cereal.
What are you, a toddler?
Yeah, bro. Like, I'm not
She's
ashamed.
like a toddler.
I'm not a toddler. Like, I'm completely fine.
For all three viewers we've got, I'm going to give you a life lesson that I told Alex
Yeah.
last week.
Let's just tell everyone to get here.
All you need to know are the fruit and vegetables in Spanish. If you say them with the right tone, it sounds super demeaning, and you can tell anyone off.
All right, do it to me right now.
Look at this little naranja under here.
Wow,
Little
that
pepino
sounds
under
pretty
here.
festive.
Yeah.
Oh my
Little
god.
agate looking motherfucker.
I wish I paid more attention to Spanish.
See? Yeah, right there. Can't
So
confirm.
bad.
I love it.
Oh, Myra.
No. You
For those of you
pinche
that don't
naranja.
know, my fiance, she is a Mexican American, so she knows Spanish fluently. So she's probably getting a kick out of that. Well, I don't know. Her family is bad. They taught me swear words in Spanish before they taught me real Spanish.
That's how. Yeah. That's what I learned. I learned the cuss words first, and then went from there.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not going
learned.
to say those on air.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
you
not-
guys don't know what it means, but how do you know that almuerzo or something like that is not a cuss word? So who cares?
Right.
Yeah, I don't have extensive knowledge of Spanish.
Arriba and el banco.
¿Dónde está el baño? That's all you need to know.
Yeah. ¿Cómo se dice? And ¿qué es esto? That's how do you say and what is this? That's all you need. You'll learn
that's
everything.
all you need. There you go.
Okay.
Now you can go to Mexico.
No, I
mean-
wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't either. Like, I've been to
Now
Mexico
you can go to
for other
Cancun.
things.
How about that?
You can go to
Yeah,
Cancun.
yeah, I
you can
survived
go to. I mean, start in the U.S. Go to New Mexico first. Go to Texas, right, and then work your way down.
You go to Texas. Go to the Rio Grande Valley. Best food in the country.
Ooh, I've never been there, but I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they
best
got
food in
good
the
chicken
country.
tenders.
No,
I stopped
they don't
at.
have chicken
Shut up,
tenders.
Nate. Jesus.
They have any Mexican dish that you could wish for. I learned what a gordita was down there, and oh my god, it's heaven in
Oh.
your mouth. It
Yeah.
is a tortilla pocket, basically, yeah, like a tortilla hot pocket. Basically, that's what it is. It's filled with breakfast or lunch foods, and it's just a fluffy little love tortilla. Just,
I went to Phoenix and I went to this little taco truck in a Kmart parking lot. And I knew it was good food because the dude we were ordering with spoke English the entire time and then ordered in Spanish. And it was the
yes.
best tacos I've ever had in my life. They were shrimp and they had like cabbage on them. Oh, dude.
So for you guys who live more, I guess, inland than border states and stuff like that, if you go to a restaurant of any ethnicity, ethnic food groups, and you don't see the people from that country, it's not going to be good. 9 times out of 10. So if you that's my life lesson. Colton gave you his. That's mine. So if you go to a Vietnamese or a Thai restaurant, and you don't see Vietnamese or Thai people there, walk out. It's not going to be good. Same thing
Right,
with
it's just
Mexican
like-
restaurants.
Yeah.
Or,
With barbecue restaurants, if you don't see someone who's a bit heavier set, like if you see a little skinny guy walking up running a barbecue restaurant, it's
Never
not-
trust a skinny chef ever.
never trust a skinny chef. We're giving you good life lessons here.
absolutely. This is
This is
where
all gonna
you
be cut
come.
out. This is all going to be cut out. So only you guys watching live can get this.
Yep.
I would also
This is why I
say
need to be here.
there's a big difference between peeing in the pool and peeing into the pool. That's a big life lesson.
What
Ah.
does it do with anything?
Well, Colton, I would say that both of those is probably not okay, but I will say as someone who works in the water industry, peeing in the pool, not that bad.
They don't have
the
to
pool
be-
probably is going to get you on the sex offenders list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
you're probably not going to get over well with that.
Yeah, I tried to sneak a quick pee in the deep end, and the lifeguard blew his whistle so loud I almost fell in. It wasn't cool.
Don't
wrong
do
with
that,
you?
Colton. Why?
What is wrong with you? Like,
You just get in the big bathtub and you pee in it. Like that's
You get in the big bathtub, yeah. You go into a
listen,
corner.
there is so
area.
much chlorine in pools that it will kill literally anything. Like
So I found out if you smell chlorine, it's not the smell of chlorine; it's the smell of chlorine reacting with urine.
that is false.
Is it?
I'm going to listen to the
Yes.
water treatment guy
That
for
is
this. So
false.
I mean, I'd agree with him.
You just smell chlorine because there's an excess of chlorine.
That's fair.
There's nothing because
I'll leave my words here.
So-
That's fine.
So
That's
here's
awesome.
the thing: when we check our chlorine gas tanks for leaks, we use an ammonia liquid to kind of like squirt it on there. If it colors up, it's not going to smell like chlorine, right? But it will turn into a yellow gas, and that's how we check for chlorine. And that's pure chlorine. That's shit that will literally fucking kill you if you breathe it in more than once. So no, that's not a thing.
Yeah, I want to know
that's a
some
myth. That's an urban myth.
behind the scenes stuff about pool water now.
Yeah.
I did see an experiment where these guys on YouTube found out how much on average urine was in a public swimming pool.
Probably
It was-
a lot more than you think.
8 gallons.
It's
I mean, that's
neutralized.
not a lot
It's
when you're
chlorine for it.
considering a big swimming pool, right? And there's chlorine in there,
Yeah.
but I would
So the
expect
chlorine is
one or two.
if the pools are maintained, you have no worries about it. Like chlorine, like we use that as a disinfectant in your drinking water. Like we're going to neutralize whatever pathogens or anything that could possibly get into the water before it gets to you. So if we're using a really, really, really tiny, minute amount and we're killing viruses and other biological things in there, you don't have to worry about peeing in there. No, fuck it. Just pee in the pool. Everybody all at once. It's fine. Safe.
Be in the pool, not into the pool, though.
Right.
Bro, what is with y'all?
If it's your pool and it's your backyard, do whatever the hell you want. You know?
But I mean, I don't do that in my pool. No.
I mean, you could.
I mean, just because I could doesn't mean I want to.
No, I'd
That's
agree
not
with that.
This is just interesting. Like, what things are socially
I
acceptable
mean,
to culture?
for some reason, we
us?
brought up pee. Why don't we go ahead and do it? So, are you a person that pees in the shower? Or are you a liar?
Who doesn't pee in the shower?
Right. Like, I don't understand.
If
But
you
a pool
guys
is completely different.
are you saying you don't pee in the shower?
Hold on, Alex is on mute. Alex, we cannot hear you.
Nope, now you're muted again.
Unmute.
I don't know why I did that. I wasn't muted. It said that my browser lost connection to the mic. It is wired.
Wow. Okay.
So
what were we debating about?
if you guys, when you guys shit in the shower, are you like a waffle stomper? Or are you like grab it and throw it?
Listen, I saw
This one's getting
TikTok,
deleted,
and I
man.
did not need to be reminded of it. Stop.
This is getting deleted, like, for sure. So this is
Yeah,
the
I mean,
things
we
you
got-
only get when you're here live.
Oh
We got
my
3
God,
viewers.
no.
It's
What
probably
if we devolved into
Cheyenne,
Folk?
Myra, and your dad,
what are
right?
you on? Like,
So anyone who's
not
live,
the same
answer.
normal
I mean-
folk.
Oh no.
Cole, like we need to we need like a draw line. Like this is where it's socially acceptable for normal people, and this is Colton. Like Colton is just on a different.
Oh,
plane.
yeah, I got
we're
no
throwing
shame.
out we're throwing out the referee Yu-Gi-Oh card, the hole up.
That's Colton. Colton's in a different
We're
area.
cutting it off real quick.
Like,
I hope
he's not your
Rajah's
normal
just
person.
watching this right now.
Yeah, I
He's
hope he's not like,
gonna
well,
come on.
on this.
He's like, well, these guys are fucking weird. I'm not coming on.
This is my everyday life. Interesting.
Yeah, this is Cheyenne. This is what she
Oh
lives
no.
we
with.
gotta
To be
change
clear,
the-
I'm not serious
change the
about
banner,
this.
too. Like, we're not
These are
fighting-
things that I contemplate at work. All right, I don't shit in the shower. All right?
Yeah, well, your work, it kind of you can't have your phone, so you can't listen to music. So I could see where your mind would just
No.
wander
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
There's
Man.
some very interesting debates.
It is
All right.
illegal.
Anything else that we just need to let out on the table before Rajah comes on?
Do you want me to keep going or?
I mean, I'm entertained. I'm not condoning anything you do.
We're
I'm
having
entertained.
fun. I don't know if necessarily this is going to get us sponsorships.
No, it's probably not.
I mean, that's probably not going to get us any hot passes.
no.
I mean, what else do I got? So we talked about Pop-Tarts and calzones, right? Pop-Tarts
Right.
are calzones. We decided on that. Hot dogs are sandwiches.
You're not speaking for everybody.
Cereals, chow. We decided on that. You did not answer. Man, I had another good one that I just thought of today. I can't remember it now. But yeah, hot dogs or sandwiches, and Pop-Tarts or calzones. I'd consider them a ravioli too.
I
mean, it makes sense. Like, I get the logic. It's just, I just don't know if
anything
I'd go that far.
I don't have anything to say on this. Also, we're still chatting on our banner like it's Nate versus Colton.
Yeah, you need to fix that. Like, I don't have access to
My
that.
bad. Man. All right. I'm hoping he comes on shortly.
These Colton debates, man, they're just interesting. He gives
Yeah,
me a
they're
whole
good.
new lens on life.
They're good.
I see something moving in the background where Colton is. It's kind of interesting.
What do you mean? There's nothing moving.
There was like a blanket that just moved back and forth. I'm like, what's going on over there?
Oh, that's
There's no one in the room with you. Is
no.
there?
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I have good eyes, bro. Like, I can see everything.
You don't have good eyes. You got good glasses.
Whatever.
Giant
I have good noticing abilities. I don't know. Shoot. Awareness.
Awareness.
Poor
There you go.
vision, good
Put that in
awareness.
your stats.
Like, I'm just enjoying a classic race that's going on behind me right now. So,
Man. Shit.
If you guys could pick,
all right.
would you rather have chopsticks for fingers or office chair wheels for feet?
I'm gonna need you to run that by me again because what?
Oh, this is tough.
Would you rather have chopsticks for fingers or office chair wheels for feet?
I mean, they're both so difficult, man. Like, I don't know. Like, they both be incredibly restrictive.
I can't go upstairs, or I can't eat because I can't use chopsticks.
So it's like they're both like fatal options. It's just, I don't know. I think I'd go with the chopsticks for fingers because I could learn how to use the chopsticks and eventually to use them proficiently enough to where I can do everything. And I don't know. Like, I just don't think the office chairs would work for me. Like, I don't think
you'd roll everywhere and not get tired, but you also couldn't go anywhere off road or any type of bumpy surface.
Yeah, that's my problem. Like,
I have a caveat
like,
for this. Okay, you could make yourself shoes. You cannot make yourself a hand.
Oh, you genius!
How are you going to make yourself shoes if you have wheels? Tires?
It's pretty
Just
simple.
design
You
a
just
shoe
design
that
something
goes
that
around the
locks
wheel.
your wheels in, kind of like
Get a prosthetic
Puffwatch.
designer to design a feet for you. Like,
But
then
how are
you
you
3D
walk
printers
and
are not
move.
that expensive.
You can walk, move. You're good to go.
That's
Learn CAD to get your dimensions, and then anytime that you don't want to roll like I was going to say Sonic, but that doesn't make any sense.
Bro, you could, like, whoever designs prosthetics,
Just get me
design feet for your
Frozone costume,
for your
and
wheels.
I'll
Shoot
pretend to be Frozone, skating around on wheels like that.
Right.
The thing is, do I also get to like control the speed of the wheels, or do I have to go like roller skating?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm choosing the wheel, so I don't know why I'm asking this.
Bro, I gotta go with the.
I'm still going with the fingers.
Yeah.
I feel like I could adapt to that better.
Well, I have claws.
I don't think
bro.
I could. I don't think
Really?
I could.
I mean, I could adapt. Like, it would take some time, but I could adapt. It happened.
Awkward silence, huh?
Well, I'm
enjoying
texting
my
Roger
classic
right
race,
now.
man. Ooh, so if it's similar to having long nails, I've never had long nails, so I couldn't answer that.
Is having chopsticks as fingers no, because they just be your fingers. They wouldn't be nails.
Yeah, like I've never had long
It'd be
nails.
similar,
so I
yeah.
couldn't
It'd be
answer the
similar.
question.
But you wouldn't, like, you know, when you go to pick up a coin off a flat surface and you have long nails, you can't grab it. You have to, like, scoot it off the edge. It's like that, but it's your whole finger.
That if you don't have knuckles, then you can't be human.
Yeah.
That's rude to any people that don't have hands. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't think about the handicap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro. Like, you gotta be more like aware.
I'm just, people know what I'm saying. I mean, no.
Oh. Guess what?
All right, boys. Is it time? Yes, it is time. Let's
We're
go.
actually going to do this. I had just sent him a
Yeah.
message too. So never mind to that, Rajah, if you're on.
Oh, you jumped the gun.
After the random conversations we just had. There he is!
There you go.
Hello. Can you hear us, Rajah? I think he's frozen. Probably on that hotel Wi-Fi. You got us, Rajah?
Rajah, if you can hear us, we do have a private chat here.
Yeah, so if you got technical difficulties, just hop in there.
And honestly, since you're you there?
Hello?
Yep, we got
I
him.
think we got you. You're kind of skippy.
Hello? Can I? Hello?
All right.
Yeah,
we
I
got you now. All right. What's up, man?
Cool. I had to have my hotspot on because hotel Wi-Fi wasn't working.
Yeah, I think we've all encountered that problem. So how was the ride up to Martinsville, man?
Pretty uneventful. Just had some traffic up 85, but overall it was a smooth drive for the most part, and grabbed some food, and then now we're here.
All right. Well, I don't know how long you want to stay on tonight, but we got a full slate if you're ready for that. I mean, we could probably go on for a couple hours, man.
Man, I ain't got no homework due tonight, so we'll get this done however long y'all need it to be.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
Colton
let's
is
find
back.
back.
So I'm Alex. I'm the one you've been texting with back and forth for the past couple of weeks. Got Nathan below me, and then to my right or left, I'm not sure that's Colton.
Yeah.
So we've been going on for a while now.
Hell yeah.
We basically had a full show. We've been waiting for you. Glad you finally got on. Thanks for coming on too, man. You are the first driver that we've had on, and we are totally excited for it. So everyone, welcome in Rajah Caruth. And we are saying your name right, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for thanks for having me on, guys. I apologize for the tardiness. I was under the impression that we were gonna leave at like 5 a.m. tomorrow, but decided to come tonight. That was not my decision. So that was a unforecasted development that literally came about like at lunchtime today. So
Word. We've had some very interesting conversations.
Yeah.
You've filled the time. You're good.
Yeah. So before we
Cool.
kind of jump right into it, so what's going on with you at Martinsville this weekend? Are you going to be racing in the Super Late Model 300 Lapper?
So I'll be racing the Valley Star Credit Union 300, or attempting to make the field for that race. And I'm excited. It'll be the biggest race of my career so far. And I feel like I think they are changing up the format due to the Hoosier tire shortage. So it won't be heat races. It'll just be top 40 or top 42 qualify in. So that'll even put more of an emphasis on the 4 hours of testing that we have tomorrow. So I'm excited for this race. This is a track that I've watched on TV, have like seen since I was like 10, right? And I get to race here for the first time and get some on-track experience before we make an Xfinity start here next year. So I'm extremely excited, and hopefully our testing tomorrow goes good, and then we can make the show on Saturday.
Yeah, hopefully so. That would be a very big race to be in, even if you didn't finish high up the standings, even being a part of that elite group of guys. That is the biggest race in asphalt late model racing. If it was my opinion only, I'm not sure how other people rank that sort of racing and stuff. But Thursday night, we've talked about every other race. We were waiting to get you on. You started off the show at Bristol in the ARCA cars, and I got to say, I told you when we were texting that was a hell of a save that you had there. So you were racing with a guy that was running with a championship, and Corey Heim. I mean, tell us about that moment, because that was probably the biggest moment of the race, in my opinion.
So when I set up that pass, basically, I think this is a whole can of worms that probably shouldn't go into for professionalism purposes. But passing a lap car, one of like 18 that were, I would say, below minimum speed there, and so especially like that first run of the race, the car was really good, and I was able to turn from the concrete into that grip stuff, and that's how I was able to get position on Corey there. And he just didn't. He turned down like I wasn't there. I spoke to him after. He said Spotter didn't tell him, and he didn't have a left side mirror. So, but that's whatever happened. But I got pretty fortunate there not to wreck that race car. I've had some pretty crazy or hectic moments, I think, in the ARCA car this year, from I guess missing Dick Dohenny's spin at Dover, and missing wrecks and avoiding them at Bristol, and avoiding slow traffic at Pensacola, right? And I think the only time this year that I've really made a mistake, like I guess car control wise, was at Milwaukee, and luckily the TV didn't show it. But I'm gonna expose myself here. But on last lap for 13th, I knocked the right rear off of our the Ilmore car that I race for zero reason. So overall, back to Bristol. That was a pretty fun race, and we should have ran third. Like that was how good our car was. We just had like our track bar wasn't secure for whatever reason, so it was like constantly like lowering itself throughout that mid portion of the race. That's why we fell back to like 15th. And we got it fixed at that last break, and then I could go back forward again, and ended up finishing 6th while being the only car besides the 18 that was running 15-second laps at the end of the night. So if we had a restart there, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but that's racing. So I think going to having two of my best runs so far in that East car be at as treacherous of tracks as Dover and Bristol, I feel like that's something to be respectful about, I would say.
Yeah, and you're not only racing those guys in the E Series at that point. You're racing the likes of, like we said, Corey Heim, but also Ty Gibbs, who's probably going to be a really massive NASCAR prospect for the next few years, maybe even down the road Cup champion. Like, how does it feel to be able to race with that caliber of guys with just a short career that you've had?
I think it's honestly crazy, Alex, because it's people that I watch on TV, right? And it's weird because they're like around the same age or a little bit older than me, but I've been racing for 3 years, and these guys have been in ARCA cars or K&N cars for 3 total years, right? And I think competing with them at this level and not just riding around, right? Like I think that's a testament to the people at Rev, people that have helped develop me as a driver and as a young man, just because of all the things that I guess we have to uh, navigate as developing as a driver and having a lot of eyes on you, and so to be able to produce quality runs, I think that's a testament to the people that are around me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Rev Racing. I told these guys and I texted you about it. I did have a couple of questions myself about this. Of course, Nathan and Colton, the floor is open for you guys to chime in with any of your questions. But when it comes to Rev Racing, I mean, let's call it what it is. They've always been kind of a race team that has had a minority focus when it comes to drivers, and I know that you've got a team around you like that, but do you think that that is something that gives you a little bit of a big shoe to fill? Because when you say minority drivers, you're like, well, you think of the fact that people might be hateful towards you or so whatever because you're minority, but when you look at it, you've got 3 big time drivers out there with Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, and Daniel Suarez who have come through that program. So how does that make you feel because you're coming up the same way that they did?
I mean, it's kind of two-sided there, Alex. Like it's I guess I don't know what the word is. Probably some what of a positive feeling to be in their footsteps, or I guess in the trails that they kind of blazed, right, and be able to go along their way. But at the same time, all 3 of those guys already had like external contracts going forward, right? Like for example, Larson was already signed through Ganassi and did stuff with Turner Scott before going over there for the next year. Suarez was already signed with Gibbs, same with Bubba, right? So they already had external programs where they were getting to race nationwide cars or trucks or more K&N or ARCA races, right? So it's two-sided in the fact that all right, it's great to have an opportunity to not have to worry about the finances of racing, but at the same time not having that next parts of your career planned out like they had, and having it, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but pretty set in stone with the funding and partners that they had behind them, in addition to the proven talent that they had. So I think that's kind of two sides of the coin, right? Of all right, I've got a chance, but do I have a chance because I don't have millions of dollars of sponsorship or manufacturer truly backing me? So
yeah. So I did want to touch real quick. I'll bring up this comment here. How did you get into racing? So I read an article where you said your first race was, I believe you were in 7th grade, and your family kind of took you to Richmond without you knowing about it. Was that kind of your start into it, or did you have? I'd assume you had a little bit of understanding of it before, where you were a fan of NASCAR. You weren't just kind of going in blind. But how did you kind of get your start into actually driving cars?
Yeah, Colton. So that race was the first race that I attended. I think that was the first racetrack that I saw like with my own eyes. And I had seen like for example, like for whatever reason there's an IKEA in College Park, Maryland, and in like 2011 I saw a Dale Jr. show car there, a National Guard one. And that was that's like an odd memory that I had. But I think before that first race in 2014, I mean I was as big of a fan as you can really get as a kid, right? I didn't grow up going to the racetrack. I didn't grow up in a racing family. I was born in Atlanta, raised in Brooklyn, New York, and Washington, D.C., 3 places that are removed largely from the world of stock car racing, or really any racing in general. So I purely got it from getting little die cast and the Cars movie, obviously, and in addition to seeing it on TV. Like one of the first races I remember watching is the 09 Carfax 250 where Brad Keselowski won it. I remember that one, and watching some stuff in 2011. So that's kind of how that interest really started. and it just really grew over time. Like I used to have this YouTube channel, and it unfortunately got taken down because copyright. But really, I made stop motions. I did NASCAR 15 playthroughs. I did reaction videos to races. Right, I was really the 12-year-old typical NASCAR super fan, and I was fortunate to be able to continue that fandom and turn that into trying to make a career out of it. And like through Drive for Diversity, like that was the only way that was really going to happen. Just because of really all the variables that they helped take care of, and just it all really worked out. It's hard to really put it into words how opportune everything was and has been so far.
Yeah, and I guess with that being said, I have a little random question, if you want to call it that. I saw on your social media pages you post a lot of your karting activities at GoPro and places like that. And as somebody who's big into karting, I want to know like what from it can you take into your everyday job? Like what can you take into racing cars from your karts?
So that's a good question, Nathan. So kind of backtrack. I'm pretty new into the karting world in general compared to some of my counterparts that have, like, for example, Nick has raced karts since he was a kid. Same with Isabella. Ty has raced go-karts for a long time and so on. So I'm pretty new in that department, but luckily I was able to get a KA kart of my own to practice with, and have been racing rentals at GoPro for the last year and some change. And I think the thing that's most helpful about doing those on a weekly basis is just working on it physically, like the muscles that you use in your hands and your neck and your ribs. Like that is not something that you can work out in a gym, right? There's certain risk exercises that you can do, but there's no better repetition, there's no better preparation than actually doing it. And obviously you're not driving a go-kart like a stock car. There's different habits and different techniques that you do in karting that aren't applicable to heavy stock cars, but some of the approach, some of the just general basics are things that are to practice on, whether it's hitting your marks every lap or keeping your tires on you or just being smoother with your hands, right? That's things that apply to stock cars. So that's the thing that's useful to me. And honestly, like, especially after that first time that I got in one, I was pretty sore. I'm about to sneeze. No, I'm not about to sneeze. So, that first time I got in that KA kart, I was sore for like 4 whole days, and I was in it last week, and I was totally fine. And like I did it on Tuesday and raced to Bristol on Thursday, and felt great. So I think it's helped me physically, just because I also did not grow up working on cars. I did not grow up being an outsider or being outside or I guess doing labor and stuff. Like I was a city kid that played sports, right? That's how I was, I guess, strained athletically or physically, not through labor, but through sports. So that's been a thing to adjust to too, is to actually like doing hard work versus, and not to say other sports aren't work, right? Like you've got your 2-a-day practices for a couple hours and you work on your craft to get better, but it's kind of different preparation in that aspect as well.
Yeah, that was a great explanation on karting. That's obviously, or I should say, that's honestly something that I wouldn't have even thought about. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Nathan. That was a fantastic answer from Rajah. Like that is something that not most people are going to know about, because you don't see karting as much as you do in Europe here in the States. So if you're not an open wheel fan, you don't know that these guys go out here and train like that. So it's kind of a unique, I guess, observation for guys like me who come from a dirt background, and I would never think of anything like that. I'm thinking, what do we train for in dirt? You got throttle control and how quickly your reaction times with your hands are, and it's just that's really interesting. I do kind of want to steer it back though. I'm going to hit you with a pretty hard question. You kind of hit on some of the points that I wanted to ask you about, which was that you were born in Atlanta, raised in Brooklyn, raised in DC, and you were an athlete. I think on your website it said you were a former track star. I do want to know kind of who is Rajah Caruth. Like, you're all these things, you're all these backgrounds. I mean, said your family has Caribbean heritage. Like, who are you? What was your kind of upbringing, and who do you, present yourself as? Maybe not in public, but kind of behind closed doors.
That's a good question. I still kind of try to figure that out, right? Like, I mean, I feel most of my childhood memories are in DC, so I would consider myself being from there. I played soccer and basketball. Basketball was the first sport I played. Then I ran track in middle school. And to be completely honest, fellas, like if I didn't end up racing, and I'm glad that I am fortunate to be able to race so far, I would have probably ran track in college just because of how things were kind of going on the state or the DC area level, I guess, for me. But I guess, who am I? I mean, it's weird because racing is like, I haven't been racing that long, but I've been obsessed with it for as long as I can remember. So it's really a part of my identity. It's a part of my my routine, my thought process, my kind of checks and balances in my head. So I would say racing and NASCAR in particular is like a big part of who I am at heart. I think family obviously has a big role there, and I feel like I value the well-being of people a lot, probably to a fault, I would say, over my own. And I mean, besides that, I like watching basketball on TV. I like get on iRacing a lot. I'm not really that much of a gamer though. Like I never was really a gamer as I was growing up. Like I would play GTA, or no, correction, I got GTA last year because my mom didn't let me get it, so I was like 18. And then I played Minecraft, Battlefield,
Oh, dude,
2K.
Minecraft.
Yeah, bro. Like me and my friend Robert used to go on like faction servers and stuff and just like hang out on there. Man, that just unlocked a whole memory. But I would say at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just a guy that feels like he knows his purpose. And I know a lot of people don't have that, so I feel very fortunate to have some clarity on what I think it is, and I'm going to do my best to kind of act upon it. So,
Man, you touched on a huge note in Minecraft. I'll talk to you later. And man, I am huge into that. I also read that you got, I think it was last year, when you were 17, you got your permit and you were driving around, and your mom hated you driving because you drove with 2 feet. Is she still super skeptical about that? Is she all right with it now?
So that was a funny story. So we had went to one of our family's houses that lives in the Charlotte area, and I had just got my permit, right? And it was a situation of I started driving with 2 feet, and then she was like, "Nope, we're not doing that." And so,
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom, but sometimes I drive with 2 feet if I need to get somewhere fast. I'm still law abiding though. I am not speeding, making that abundantly clear. We're not speeding, but I do drive with 2 feet sometimes, even though my car that is a 2007 Acura MDX does not have a clutch. But it's weird because I feel like I can be more precise driving with 2 feet. So yeah, and to be completely clear, I have my full driver's license now. I got to get it converted to North Carolina, but yes, here's my full driver's license. I'm not going to tell y'all when I got it because I feel like that's a meme. So
I'm the same. I drive with 2 feet everywhere I go, but that's just because the brakes in my truck suck. So, so I wanted to know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, man, pretty wholesome guy. I'm really glad that we got you on here. I know we all have a lot of other questions for you. I did want to ask you something myself, though, as everybody else is formulating their other questions. I know I asked you kind of who you were, and that was a big one. But you know what is it like knowing that there are guys out there like you? because we're all in the same boat. We're super passionate fans. We're on here. We're making podcasts and stuff. Eventually, all of us want to move to the Charlotte area. Maybe not Nathan. He hasn't decided yet.
I'll be there.
Yeah, okay. He's going to be there. I would love to be someone in like marketing and stuff. Maybe even a spotter or something like that. Colton wants to get up there. Nathan wants to be a medical personnel in maybe even the sport. I mean, how does it feel knowing that you've kind of gotten to that point? I mean, how did you feel? Because you've gotten to that point, but in a non-traditional driver way, right? Because you've only been doing this 3 years. You've won your first late model race, so that kind of helps. You were basically iRacing before you were real racing. Like, how does it feel to get there as just that passionate fan?
Man, I mean, it is pretty surreal, and I've got to remind myself sometimes to be more, I guess, wide open and be more, I don't know what the word is, take better advantage of like time that I have and opportunities that I get, just because, like, to your point, Alex, like, there's this one dude that I used to race on NASCAR 15 against. His name's Matthew, and like a group of us were all racing one night, and some of them got mad, obviously, as one does when you get on NASCAR 15 on the PlayStation, right? And basically, I don't know what the whole context of it was, but one line came up, and it was a situation of, well, some of us may never get to race in real life, and this is as close as we'll get. So I haven't forgotten that ever. And at that point, I didn't have anything lined up. I was probably in like 7th or 8th grade at that point, so it wasn't a situation of I know that this is what I'm going to do. And that kind of puts into perspective for me, just because I'm very fortunate to have had the chance to get to where I'm at now, even if I don't get to continue after the end of this year or the end of next year, right? I've had a chance to drive, and that's something that some people have wanted to do for their entire lives. Some people have never gotten to do that. So I feel like I wouldn't say represent, but I feel like I do my best to allow people to live vicariously through me, for being able to live their dreams, right? Like some of my friends, Garrison, Malik, Jordan, like Garrison's especially, like, everybody wanted to race, and for various reasons, it just didn't work out for them for however why that happened. And so I feel like I just try to do the best that I can to take advantage of it, just because, like, some people never got that chance.
Yeah, big mood right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you another random one. It's something I've always wanted to know. I've never got a chance to ask a driver this, and it's, if you could only pick one track to drive on for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
I'll say right now, I'll give you 3. So I'll say Hickory.
All right.
I like that place. It's pretty hard, and things change there a lot, I think, with grooves and other stuff. Like, I feel like that's a great track I could race at for a while. Dover, I think. I enjoyed Dover a lot. Yeah, that's a good one. I would say Pensacola too. I liked Pensacola a lot. That would be my top 3. Hopefully I can say I like Martinsville too, just because I've been watching that place for a while, and I hope it is as fun as it looks tomorrow, and I'll let you know if it is.
Yeah, great choices.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, those are 3 awesome tracks. I've heard Martinsville's tough for your first few times you go there. But you're going to be racing, hopefully, in the super late model race at Martinsville. You're going to be racing against guys like Josh Berry. I don't know if any of the other big name super late model guys are going to be in it. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, no, Josh Berry's not going to be there this weekend.
Yeah, he's going to Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
You're going to
Everybody's
watch him.
subbing for a net.
Stupid me. Yeah, he's subbing for a net.
So I guess Bubba Pollard and the like are probably going to be there.
Bubba Pollard, yeah. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't think of his name.
So in terms of late model guys. So it's and I don't mean to be like a smart butt, but so it's late model stocks, not super late models. So
Okay.
but there
Thank
are
you.
some super late model guys and pro late model guys coming to race. Steven Nassie, Bubba Pollard, Corey Heim, Sammy Smith. There's probably some others that I'm forgetting that race supers, but I don't really know the super world that well of Florida and Georgia and Alabama. But a lot of those guys are coming up for this race. You've got your Mike Looney's, your Peyton Sellers, really the best really around, from racing at Kingsport, at South Boston, at Hickory, at Greenville Pickens, Florence, uh, Dominion, like the best in the country, right? So if we can my goal is really just to make the race, and which I feel like we can do, and I would really like to. And from then on, as long as we don't tear up stuff, like I feel like it'll be okay night. I would love to win, but everybody wants to win, and it's kind of, especially for being my first time there, and really that the first race that I'm racing against real grown men and not rich kids. Like it'll be a real test. So if we can make the race and not tear stuff up, I feel like that'll be a solid night.
Yeah, I kind of feel a little bit bad now because I know specifically Dale Jr. always talks about on his podcast how pro late model stocks are the I guess essential race car to be in, and I'm sitting here thinking this is a super race just because it's big. So honestly, myself, like I'm not into big into the asphalt late model scene. That's something that I've recently started getting into. So I'm really not well versed in anything. I know all of the drivers that you said and the tracks, but I've never actually really watched racing into that because I'm coming from a dirt background. So
right,
we'll all three definitely be watching and rooting for you for in this weekend so that you can get in the race. Sorry, it's been a long night already. So we've got more questions based on your career, based on your personal preferences, even within and not within the sport. But we have a comment right here from Cheyenne Sims, and she is giving us a really good question for you. What are some things that you do to mentally prepare for a race?
Oh, this is a good question, Cheyenne. I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, I don't have a set routine yet, and I probably should make one of a process that I do pre-race, right? So I feel like I need to figure that out. So I don't have some things that I usually do. I've got some good luck charms, which I was thinking about this on the van ride up because we've been rushing for the last like 3 days. So I really hope that I brought them. Yes, I brought them. So I've got some good luck charms that I'd like touch and stuff before the race. So I've got this little die cast. Right.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I got this the first summer I lived in North Carolina, which was 2 years ago. I went to the DEI museum. That was before it got closed, I guess pre-COVID. And then so this is from my granddad. So he lives in London now. So those are my really two good luck charms. Also got bracelet from my girlfriend too. So that's kind of my trifecta there of good luck charms, I guess. I don't have a routine. I try to find some place to get to myself a little bit before practice or at some point just to like check in and make sure I'm ready to go. Besides that, I don't have really any process. I probably should, to be completely honest, but
yeah. Well, I mean, as young as you are, I mean, that's probably something that comes. I mean, you probably got guys like Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin who are out there just pacing themselves mentally each week that we don't even see because they're doing it in the hauler or something. But I do want to say you got the, like you said, the trifecta there. You got the Dale Earnhardt diecast. You know, do it for Dale. We're all about that. But you weren't born before Dale passed. So I do have to ask, what is your connection to the man that you did not even get to see race? How is that?
So there's no real connection there, Alex. I feel like that's just an iconic name, an iconic number and paint scheme. But on top of that, what I've heard, the stories that I've been told from people that work at the shop with me and people that I look up to and speak to, the stories that I've heard about him have been just aside from really how Dale drove on the racetrack, but for the person that he was away from the racetrack, that is something that I feel like I respect and admire just because of, like I said earlier, like it's important personally for me to respect people and to feel like make people feel like they are cared about and are listened to. And so from what I've been told, that is kind of and obviously there's difference between, it's you go to race day to compete, right? But there's times away from the racetrack. And I mean, that's kind of my whole thought process there. But like you said, Alex, like that was before me. Like I have no concept of the gravity of what he did for the sport. I grew up at a time when Jimmy Johnson won half the championships for the years that I was alive.
It's so crazy.
So that is, I hate to make y'all feel old. Nathan, you're probably closer to me in age.
2002.
So, okay, same. All right.
Yeah,
so,
there we go.
So, yeah, that's the connection I would say to the three. But besides that, I don't really have any other connections. But my iRacing car looks kind of similar to his. So,
I guess I'll ask you a basic one. Like I've asked kind of oddball questions for the last couple ones, so I try to do this for every person I meet, and I want to ask them, like, every guest has done this before, but I gotta know, like, what's your favorite paint scheme of all time?
My favorite paint scheme of all time, it has to be. I loved the Good Wrench Kevin Harvick ones. I liked Kevin Harvick's shell ones, and his Jimmy John / Ream ones that were like black through the center, white on the sides. I love those. But I would say one of my favorite ones of all time was the Jimmy Johnson 2009 Lowe's car that had like the red accents on the swooshes on the doors. That was probably one of my favorite cars. I love the car tomorrow. Like some people just hated it. I heard it was terrible to drive, but I just loved watching because that's like a car that I liked seeing on TV. I would get the 164s and break the winglets off and just have it be a blade on the back. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite paint scheme.
I mean, those are great choices. So I love all the ones you mentioned.
Yeah.
So, touching on that, I want to know, when you were growing up as a fan, who was your guy that you rooted for every week? Because I'm a Blaney fan. I'm a diehard Blaney fan. Who was your guy when you were watching every week? Or who's your guy now?
So is that a Dave Blaney or Ryan Blaney?
Ryan Blaney. Well, I was fan of Dave in the Dirt Series.
I see. Cool. So growing up, Jimmy Johnson was who I pulled for. I liked Kevin Harvick. I liked Jeff Burton. Thought Carl Edwards was cool when he was nice and not wrecking people.
Yeah.
Those were the guys that I really liked growing up. Primarily Jimmy Johnson, though, just because, like I had alluded to earlier, just the champion and the person that he was off the racetrack. That is why Jimmy Johnson was my favorite driver growing up. And obviously when Bubba got on the scene as well, and I've built a great relationship with him over the last little bit. He's been extremely helpful and really instrumental in my career to the point where I'm at now. And I think besides that, that's who I really liked growing up. Then nowadays, it's weird because now I have like relationships and like ties to people that race on TV now, and it's kind of weird. Like for example, like Nick and I were watching the Daytona Cup race in August or whatever, and it was weird because I was like, okay, I want these people to win, but then I was like, wait, I know like half of the guys that are on that box. I know all of the 43's pit crew. Like it's weird because like I have like there's people I think of humans versus the car number of the driver, right? That's on TV. So right. I would say now I don't really know who I pull for. I would say just because like whoever has a good run, I'm like, all right, I know some of those people. I'm happy for them. Or if people don't have a good run, then it's like, no, they've been working hard, but that's racing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Did you ever collect die casts as a kid growing up?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I have to say, I probably have, as a driver, I have the most extensive diecast collection in history. I will bet, because I've got a good little collection going in North Carolina, but back in DC in storage and in my old room, let me tell y'all, I've got a pretty extensive collection, like hidden away in boxes and stuff.
I
What's your favorite?
know that. Yeah, go ahead first.
My favorite
Answer Colton
diecast.
first.
I'll be done. I swear.
And I'm mad because I used to lose them a lot when I was a little kid, and I had some really fire ones. I think one of my favorites was the 2011 Jimmy Johnson Foundation one, and it was like gray and blue, like silver and blue. I love that
Oh,
car,
I
man.
remember.
And I wanted that 2009 one too, that he drove at Fontana, but I just never got that. I had an 07 Harvick All-Star win. I lost that one too.
Man, I could send you that one. I got that one.
Oh,
Yeah, I got that one. I got the little hood to go with it. Yeah.
really?
Oh.
From like the winter circle that they sell at the
Yeah.
store?
It's just sitting in a box somewhere. I'll send it to you. Yeah,
Nice. Trying to think. I had a Bobby Labonte 43, I think it was Cheerios. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the blue and yellow.
Yeah, with the spoon on the side. So
Yeah.
those are my favorite die casts that I had growing up. I had, and two other ones. I had the little platinum 164s that had the hoods open. So I had the Tony Stewart Old Spice and Office Depot combo. Also probably destroyed those two cars too, but I was like 10. So
Yeah, I mean, they're meant to be played with.
So I want to. You said you have a collection to be rubbing with. So I know you've spoken to my dad because he was the one that kind of got you on here. He's kind of our PR guy. He knows basically the whole Xfinity garage, which you're going to be a part of next year. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But something people might not know unless they heard the episode where we talked to my dad. He has probably around 3,000 164 scale cars.
I ain't got that many.
Yeah, so we have got to get you guys together so that you can talk about diecast. I mean, that man is a diecast encyclopedia. We even have an 8x6 table where we roll dice and race the cars, and it's very competitive and it's very good for later in your life.
That's
when
fire.
You can have fun with friends and adult beverages.
Man, I'm gonna be drinking chocolate milk for like the duration of my life, man.
I mean, Colton drinks chocolate milk every time that we get on. So
that's chocolate milk in there. Nice.
Yeah,
it would be chocolate milk in this, but it's water because we're racing this weekend. So I'm being mature and responsible and hydrating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I drink chocolate milk every week.
I am so glad that we got you on because, man, I did not realize you were such a super fan because you like fit in right in with us. So
right,
that is amazing.
Super fan is a. I have a pretty abnormal, I guess, database of knowledge in my head. Okay, question: did y'all ever have that book, the NASCAR: The Complete History, like the encyclopedia by Greg Fielden?
I have read that.
Yeah, it's not here.
I've read that like 12 times.
Oh,
so,
dude, I've got two.
I got that for the first time Christmas
Colton,
2009,
send me one.
And the original copy. This one only went to 2006, but this copy, I still have it in DC. That thing is like destroyed because I used to take it to school. I took it to school a couple times. I would read it when I was like on the toilet at dinner, bro. Like I would take it on trips. Like,
yeah,
that thing, I read that cover to cover, right? And like I can tell you every Cup champion until like 1979. Like the amount of, I guess, knowledge and stats I learned from that, as you know, Colton, is pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be weird because like Mark Green will ask me like stuff that I wasn't alive about, and I'll be like, "Oh, I know what that is." Yeah. And then he's like, "How do you know?" I was like, "Oh, I read about it." So,
man, I love that. I mean, Nathan's basically our encyclopedia on history of racing, and that's. I mean, we're all super passionate about it, and it's cool that there's someone, who's actually driving in the sport. It's basically just a representative for super fans like the rest of us. Man, that is so cool. I did want to ask you because you said this earlier, and it kind of dated me because I was in Charlotte the week after the premiere of this movie. But you said cars got you into the movie. or got you into the series, the movie? Like, how was it? Because at that time we had Herbie Fully Loaded and Talladega Nights come on at the same time. I mean, what is it about cars that got you into the real race cars?
So, I guess context. I didn't get allowed to watch Talladega Nights till I was like 12. I didn't watch Herbie Loaded when it first came out, but I eventually watched Herbie Reloaded because I remember because Jeff Gordon was in it and stuff, and Jeff Gordon. But so I was 4 when that movie came out, so I don't really remember seeing it, but I was taken to the theater to watch it. I'm told this by my parents, and I guess I liked it. I watched Cars 2 when it came out in theaters. I watched Cars 3 when it came out. Funny story, when we saw Cars 3, so my parents and my little sister, say little, she's only 2 years younger than me. She's still my little sister. They went and saw like Wonder Woman or something, and I chose to go and watch Cars 3 when we all went to the movies. So I think that kind of paints that picture. So, man, like, I love the franchise. Like, as goofy as it sounds, I learned some stuff from that movie, from the character arc of Lightning McQueen, of the things that he did and does, and the importance of being humble and having a support system, and having friends, and remembering where you came from, and like being grateful, and all the useful things that come with, I guess, being a professional athlete. And yeah, I like literally played it like the other day. Like, I would say Cars and Speed Racer were 2 movies that really helped me, or really had me in the racing world. So
people sleep
even
on
though Speed Racer wasn't NASCAR, but yeah, I literally, bro, I watched Speed Racer on the way to Bristol last week.
Hell yeah.
And the graphics were so ahead of its time,
right?
Man.
Like, I was thinking about like, bro, this came out in 2008. Like, this is tough. And I have like, I bought it on Apple TV. I was playing on my phone, like, you know.
Yeah, and I guess this is a more serious follow up, but you mentioned the guys like Bubba are mentoring you and stuff like that, and I kind of wonder, as someone who hasn't got to experience this yet in what I want to do for a living, you know, do you ever pinch yourself and say, hey, look, this is a guy at the top of his game that's mentoring you and taking the time out of his day just to give you advice for your future?
Yeah, I have to remind myself that every day, just because of, like, you know, I have a pretty good relationship with Bubba, with Corey LaJoy, with I mean, the list goes on. Like, I did an event with Cole Custer and Justin Haley like a couple days ago, right? Like, having relationships with these guys that have made it to where you want to be is surreal, because you really go into hyper analysis mode and try to see, like, all right, what can I do to get where they're at? Like, what information can they give me that'll help me along the way? And you could probably ask all of them. It's probably annoying for the amount of questions I ask them. Like, I ask Corey and Bubba every week about notes for Bristol, for the fairgrounds, for Dover, for Martinsville, right? Like, just not just obviously because I'm still new. Like, I got in contact with Kyle Larson a couple months ago. Literally, like, that afternoon, I asked him, like, all right, can you tell me about Pocono, about Kansas, about Bristol, Dover, all the places. So it's surreal, because it's just like, okay, well, now when you watch them on TV, like, you don't see the car, you see the person. And so you have a personal tie. Like, for example, at Daytona, right? Watched that race. I was like I was hoping Corey or Bubba would have won, because I've got a relationship with not only Corey, but a couple of people that work at Spire. And I've gone over there a couple of times and met Letard, met Denowitz, met Catherine, like, you know, met Sparks, like a lot of guys that are over there, and Bellecourt, and on top of obviously Bubba, and knowing Freddie and Craig and everybody or some people over at 2311. Like, it is surreal to have those relationships with those people, because, like you said, Nathan, like, you watch them on TV, they get paid to drive race cars or be a part of the industry. So it is pretty surreal, but at the same time, like it kind of just focuses me more because I want to be where they are and competing against them, and so kind of just go into hyper analysis and see what I can do to get there.
Right. So so you talked about all these guys, specifically Bubba Larson and those guys when we talked about Rev Racing earlier tonight, and you said they pretty much had their story told to them beforehand because they're already making deals with Gibbs or Ganassi in Larson's case. And I said I'd get to it later in the show, but you're going Xfinity Racing next year. You're not going Xfinity Racing full time. You're going to be sharing the seat with Tommy Joe Martins and Cesar Bascarella at their new Alpha Prime Racing team. How exactly is that going to be for your career? What are your goals there? Is it just to get laps, or is it to make Rajah Caruth a name that wants to be taken seriously for a full-time ride in that series?
So I think, Alex, it's I think the goals for next year, I think the approach doesn't change for me personally, just because like me and Mark have the same goals every race. It's run all the laps and learn all you can and be there at the end, right? Like no matter if it's a legend car race or if it's this weekend's big race, whether was the ARCA championship at Bristol before or when we go race our Xfinity races next year, right? The approach doesn't change from my standpoint, but the goal next year is not only to learn and get my first steps in national series and really the length of those races, which is something I struggled with at the beginning of this year, but really just to, I guess, make myself a little bit more, I guess, prove myself to Chevrolet, to large sponsors, right? We've got some good partners that are lined up that are going to cover our Xfinity races next year, but that's just for next year, right? And like you said, Alex, like I'm not aligned with anybody. I don't have my career really planned out. I don't have to not, like, it's my dad and I that kind of work together on getting these deals done, and it's not a situation of, all right, it's already planned out for the next 5 years, I can just drive, right? It's not that. And I think that's good and bad, because you obviously want to be able just to just have to drive and not worry about, all right, when's the next time I'm going to race? What's this, that, and the other? Like, how are these expenses getting covered? But at the same time, that makes me more appreciative of when I get to do opportunities and get into eventually top tier equipment, right? Like, it'll make me more appreciative and understand what it took to get there. So I think once I get to hopefully drive, whether it's a case where Alpha Prime Racing is racing for top fives in Xfinity, whether it's racing for Dale Jr. or Richard Childress, whether it's going to Trackhouse, whatever the case may be, when I'm able to be in top tier equipment and fully funded, and or not to say what I'm in isn't fully funded, but to be in the best of the best stuff, I can take the most advantage of it, and I can understand it and be grateful for it. So I think that's all I got to say on that note.
So I did want to touch on a comment that we had in the chat here. To preface, this is my girlfriend. She has a lot different views about racing in general than I do, because she's kind of a new fan. I've kind of brought her into this.
Same with mine. Same with mine, man.
Yeah. So she wants to know, knowing that you can look up to people who mentor you, what advice would you give to kids who look up to you?
And I'm gonna be completely honest. People asked me that before, like multiple times, and I find it very, like, surreal, because like I'm 19, but I'm still kind of like a developing young man. Like, I find it weird when people say people are looking up to you. I still really don't believe it. Like, it's just kind of weird. And so I think to have people that I can look up to, it means a lot, because when I can build relationships with them, it makes me feel good, because they in some capacity see some worth and potential in me. And so if I can some way be that for somebody else, I feel like that's important to pay it back in that regard. That's what I try to do with my teammates at Rev. And
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to add to a little bit of Cheyenne's question. So obviously going into tonight, other than just articles and your website, I didn't know too much about you other than what I've seen on some of the broadcasts of ARCA and the ARCA E series. You seem to be a very humble young man, and I just want to say I appreciate that you are so level-headed and kind of not I won't say not aggressive or whatever, because obviously you aggressively drive race cars, otherwise you wouldn't have made that save Thursday night. But coming out and being such a well-rounded human being, I mean, how do you deal with stuff that are shortcomings? Because every person have them. Obviously the three of us do, but you coming out here being, a track star, being, playing basketball, having the passion that you do about the sport, you come into the sport, you're very humble, you're level-headed, you're not thinking above where your stuff is. Your expectations are just to go out there and do better than maybe people like us in the stands would think you are, and you're not going out there to showboat or anything like that. But there's got to be something in your mind that you can do better. What is that, and how do you deal with that shortcoming?
I probably don't deal with shortcomings the best way, as my lovely girlfriend would tell me. That's something I probably need to work on in terms of just not bottling up like frustration or feelings that I have. But I think when things don't go ideally, whether it's on the racetrack or personally or professionally, like I really just try to stay committed and focused and remember my why. And I think that's all it is. And that's kind of how I deal with that. And I think for the most part, I try to stay as you said, Alex, as level-headed as I can, just because, I mean, it's no point to throw a fit about stuff, especially if it's out of your control. Like, what's the point? You're wasting energy. You're wasting time. You're making yourself look immature. So that's kind of my thought process on that. I kind of forgot the second part of your question. Could you repeat it, Alex, please?
I mean, it was basically an extension of her question, but like, what were the shortcomings that you personally have, and how do you feel about it? I think you pretty much got it, unless you think you have something else to add. We're all ears.
I think it's just as most people tend to have, whether it's professionally, academically, with doing chores, right? Like procrastination is a thing that people not suffer through, but deal with. And it's no different for me, whether it's putting off homework till the night it's due, whether it's letting dishes sit in the sink, whether it's letting a bag of laundry sit on the floor, like any other people do, whether it's putting off cleaning my late model till like the week of the race. Like there's things that I know I need to work on. There's things that I know I need to work on in that department, and communicating with people close to me, and just growing up, and just people skills, and normal stuff, man. It's and I think I just try to not be closed-minded, not think I know it all, and just try to ask the people that I trust, and work on improving myself.
Yeah, well said. I think myself included, we've all got stuff that we just don't know how to deal with, and you might have called me out on some of the things that you said, so I'm not going to take that too much. But so I guess before we leave, right? I do want to continue the conversation. It's been kind of back and forth with the seriousness and a little bit of having fun. So I do kind of want to kind of get to know you outside of racing a little bit more. We've talked about movies, we talked about your favorite drivers and stuff, but what are your other motorsports that you watch in? What are your favorite sports teams? I know you had mentioned watching basketball and stuff. Like, what do you do in an everyday life situation that's outside of the racing?
Man, I'm gonna sound real boring. I really don't do nothing else besides racing for the most part. Like when I get up I'm supposed to get up at 6, but it usually ends up being at like 7 something in the morning, and I go to the shop, and then I'm at the shop, and then I go home, and then I get on iRacing for a certain period of time. And that's the most of my days. So I think outside of racing, what do I do? I like watching basketball sometimes. Season starting up soon. That's awesome. I like hanging out with my girlfriend. I like man, I really don't do that much now that I think about it. It's usually I'm at a racetrack, whether I'm racing or Nick's racing or one of my late model teammates, or hanging out with MJ, or doing something else. I mean, I really don't do that much stuff, man. That just kind of called me out.
Yeah.
I really don't do that much besides
Hey,
racing.
that's fine. I
I'm
mean,
pretty
you're busy.
picky eater, too.
You're a picky eater.
I'm a picky eater.
We just argued about that like before you came on.
We did.
Yes, I'm such a picky eater. Everybody gets
on
on
take
me.
my side.
My family, my team, everybody's just like, you got to eat more stuff. I'm like, do I?
All right, well then, guys, ask him the question. You were the two fighting.
Colton, you go. Like, this is
okay.
Thank you, whoever just commented in the section chicken tenders for the winners. I had argued for an hour.
There's one more semi-serious one, well, pretty serious one we'd like to get to in the chat. But first off, we were arguing about this. All right. I like canes. Canes are good, right? Raising canes. That's good chicken tenders. I am not going to go to a restaurant.
Shout out Todd Graves. Sorry.
I am not going to go to a restaurant to order chicken tenders.
Bro, what is wrong with you?
Specifically to a restaurant that serves chicken tenders. You're a picky eater, so you're not going to be on my side here.
Oh, come on. Everyone's going to be on my side.
You see the stank face I'm making at you?
I see it. That's what
chicken tenders. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. If they're good, they're good.
Thank you.
They're good.
If I go to Applebee's, to Outback, to
I mean, Chili's,
Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse, Red Lobster, Olive Garden, bro. It's chicken tenders on site. But see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Sometimes the places bread them a little bit different. So, like, for example, your Buffalo Wild Wings, your Outbacks, your Red Lobsters, it's more of like a chip type batter. It works. It's good. I get ranch always. But the batter that really smacks is the one they use at Applebee's. Because it's like, it's a mix between a chip, but it's also a little bit solid. And comes with ranch. Mint.
Man, we're gonna agree to disagree.
I'm agreeing with him on this one. Like, Applebee's
I guess
used to have like free chicken tenders.
Colton, you know what it is? It's because they're the young guns, right? They haven't quite developed fully into men. So they can't expect anything.
That's what you're going to say.
I will point it out. I have a certain amount of hairs on my chest, so I am developing into a man.
Yeah, like
we're
there.
Well, you'll fully get there when you order a steak at one of those steak restaurants you just talked about. You're talking about going to Roadhouse and you get chicken tenders. Listen, I was on the side of Nathan when it came to chicken tenders being a whole restaurant and Raising Cane's. I love stuff like Zaxby's. I love going and getting the chicken tenders, from KFC or whatever in their tender box. But man, if I'm going to a sit-down restaurant, I'm not ordering chicken tenders. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, that was my point mainly.
I mean, y'all can do what you want, but
picky eaters are different. I'll agree with that. I used to be a super, super picky eater. I agree.
You grew up.
However,
I'm throwing shade on you guys.
I don't know if
I'm a college kid. I don't need 5-star dining.
Thank you.
Okay.
There, high five.
I'm fine.
The two at the bottom are the same age. The two at the top are the same age. All right.
Yes. We don't need to grow. We can eat the same thing forever and not die. We're good.
I'll take the L.
Yeah. I know.
We did have a good one in the chat, Nate. I know this is the last one,
Yeah.
Rajah. Nate, you did have a follow-up, but Basham Z45 wants to know, what advice would you give to someone trying to get into racing?
So I've gotten this question a good amount of times now, and I would say, because this is a hard question, because unlike like basketball, football, sports that are purely based off of athletic prowess, like aside from gymnastics and stuff where you got to go to meets and stuff and that costs money. But we're saying for like basketball, soccer's sake, football, track,
Baseball,
tennis, whatever, baseball, right? You can go and work on your craft, right? You can go to the gym at 6 in the morning. You can go work out after practice and do stuff like that. Whereas with racing, like, you can't do that. Like, and it's hard because you've got to really pay to do that stuff, especially if you're not born into it. So, like, my best advice is just to just look at how people have gotten to the points where they've at now. You're good, Kevin. And then, for example, before I got on iRacing in 2018, my dad and I sat down and looked at, like, all right, how did these people go cup racing? How are these people at this point now? Right. And we saw bandos, we saw legend cars, iRacing, karting, the whole 9 yards. And basically, my biggest, I guess, piece of advice to somebody that wants to go racing is look at the ways that people that have gotten there and assess the assets that assess the assets that you have available to yourself, and just make the most of what you have. Luckily or unluckily, I didn't really have any connections to go racing at Southside, at Shenandoah, or Dominion growing up. I was just fortunate to raise money to get on iRacing and get into the Drive for Diversity program. And that to wrap up, I would say that the most important thing I could say to someone that wants to get into racing is just look at how other people have gotten there, and evaluate what assets you've got, what is available to you. Do you live close to a dirt track for karting? Do you live close to a go-kart track? Do you live close to a quarter-mile short track for quarter midgets, legend cars, bandos? Look at what's available to you and just try to make the most of it, and work on social. Social is a thing that I like, but I don't like, because it helped get me to where I'm at now. But at the same time, like, I hate the power that it has for negativity, but it also has power for positivity. So it's a double-edged sword there.
Yeah, and I guess to follow up with that, I've been getting more and more into karting lately. It's probably the most cost-effective way for me to have fun for a hobby. And, when you look at that, I was wondering if you had any advice for somebody that's kind of stepping out of rental cars, getting into like 206s and whatnot. Is there anything you have for somebody that wants to kart for a hobby, or I just like the hobby because it's fun. It makes you take your fitness more seriously and stuff like that. So I just wanted to know what you had for someone like us that just does it for fun.
So, man, I don't know, Nathan. Like, I haven't really looked at it from a perspective of just doing it for fun. I mean, I feel like if you do something for fun that takes away the competitive side of it, so that is good and bad. Like, that means it's not cutthroat, but at the same time, like,
I guess, right?
Right. But
like, I don't want to be
people,
slow.
right, exactly. And sometimes people purely race because they want to beat other people. So it's,
I mean, I'm guilty sometimes.
Right. So, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like at the moment right now, like, I race almost always just because I really enjoy it. And I feel like I'm good at it, and I am in love with the sport, and I'm obsessed with it. And now I've fallen in love with driving in it as well. And so I think that is partially why I do it. And now I'm getting to the point where I do enjoy the competition. I do enjoy when things go right and beating people, and I don't like it when I don't win. And it's annoying because racing, like most sports, is a losing sport. So I hope I answered your question, Nathan. I feel like I jumped around a little bit.
Like, I think you did. I think you hit the nail on the head. I've always said that it's really fun to compete, not just to drive. Like, my motto is just control what you can control, because it's racing.
Yeah.
And sometimes things happen that you can't really control with like your equipment or how the race works out. So
Exactly.
I don't know. I just want to enjoy every minute of it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as we come to a little close here, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you had last minute travel changes and everything like that. I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, it has been a wonderful show. I know that learning about you, seeing, like I said earlier, how humble you are, it's been a really enjoyable evening for me. And knowing that there's actual super fans out there, not just guys who want to beat other guys on the track, makes me happy, because NASCAR nerds are a thing and we're strong.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Alex. Thank y'all for having me on, man. Like I said, I apologize for the tardiness. I was not, like 12 hours ago, I was not thinking we were going to drive to Martinsville today, but
Yeah.
here we are. So thank y'all for having me on, man. Like you said, Alex, it's weird because like people I race against don't really have that same appreciation, I would say, for the sport, and it's kind of weird because I'm just like, all right, then why are y'all doing it? Like, what's the point? So
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah.
Do you have any
Myself?
sponsors or anything that you need to plug before we hop off here?
Yeah, I mean, Events DC, DTLR, they've helped me personally. I have a laundry list, not a laundry list, but a good grocery list of sponsors from back home that have helped me so far, and I need to work on memorizing that because I feel like I remember everybody and then I miss people. So
It's that ADHD.
bro, it's because of this. So
same.
yeah. And then real life iRacing Sunoco, they're helping me be able to race tomorrow at Martinsville. Max Siegel Incorporated and Max NASCAR and Drive for Diversity have helped me. And above all, I didn't really mention my family as much as I should have, but primarily my dad. Like, wouldn't be here without him. Not just from the beginnings of setting aside funds to go to races as a fan, to now having me in an apartment in North Carolina, and both dad and mom, and going to school at Winston-Salem. And I'm very grateful to not only have my parents in my life, because a lot of my friends growing up didn't have a father figure or a mother figure in their life for various reasons, and so to have both of them in my immediate family and have them have a strong process and helping me grow as an individual and helping give what my sister and I need to pursue what we want to do. I'm extremely grateful for that. And Dad's at every race that I go to, no matter what he has going on. So I'm extremely appreciative of him, my mom, my sister, my girlfriend, my aunts and uncles, my grandma, my little cousins, my friends from back in DC. Like, I have to think about it sometimes, because sometimes I do feel a little bit secluded and sometimes feel like people don't really get the variable in the situations that I'm in. But sometimes people don't have to get it to be empathetic and be there. So I'm very appreciative of the people that I have around me, on top of the people at Rev as well.
Yeah, well, we enjoyed you tonight coming on here. I do want to say, for anyone who is watching tonight, thank you guys for coming out, spending about 3 hours with us tonight. We told you we were going to get Rajah on. It has been a wonderful episode, man. I mean, I can't say it enough. We appreciate it so much. You are just such a great guy. And anyone who's out here watching, I know we're not doing as much of getting Rajah's name out as he is getting our name tonight, but come on, sponsor this kid. You are not going to have a single thing wrong to do with him. I mean, the kid's he's got everything that you would want as being a race car driver on and off the track. And if you guys want to support him, go to Fans Choice TV this weekend. It's going to be a paid race, but you'll be able to watch the Martinsville Valley Star Credit Union 300 live there on Fans Choice TV. I'm not sure how qualifying is going to work for streaming services, but I'm sure Fans Choice will have it on there. So go and support him during qualifying, and if he makes the race, let's get him up there in the top 15 or so, battling against these super drivers and pro stock drivers, because it's going to be a hell of a race. Also, as always, follow us on Twitter at FanFuelMSM, capital F, capital MSM, and go on over to our new website, fanfuelmotorsports.com, to be a part of the action. We want to hear from you. We want to get you on, and thanks for sticking around with us and Rajah tonight, and we'll see you guys next time.